Welcome to our introduction to logo design, Photoshop, and Illustrator. Now, before getting into our whole class about logo design with these two software, which are really popular nowadays, which is also made by Adobe or part of Adobe Inc. So we just need to know about how it functions and why it is important. So I would like to welcome you to the introduction of logo design again with Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. This course is designed to provide you with a comprehensive foundation in creating professional logos using two of the most powerful tools in the graphic design industry, Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. Whether you're a beginner or have some experience, this course will guide you through the essential principles and techniques of logo design. So what is the importance of logo design? 1. Brand identity and recognition. Obviously, you're going to get clout and you're going to get recognition. But how are you going to get recognition if you don't have a brand identity? So it is very important. Professionalism and trust. With the brand identity and recognition, you can also build up professionalism and trust with that brand. Differentiation. Obviously, not all the logos are the same. Each brand's logo represents a specific part of themselves or has something to put up different. Consistency across platform. Now, you have to be consistent across different platforms, different socials. So if you have to be consistent, you need a logo for your brand identity. Emotional connection. Now, just like I said about differentiation, your logo must also have an emotional connection with what it represents. Marketing and communication tools. That is also very important to make your logo. Memorability. Aesthetic appeal. Well, obviously, if your logo doesn't look that good or it doesn't appeal to be that good, it's not going to be good and you will not be able to build up your professionalism, and also you will not be able to be consistent. Scalability and versatility. Now, when you are using your logo on different platforms, different socials, different medias, well, it's not always the same scalability and versatility. Sometimes you will basically see that the logo which you've made is a bit less resolution than the other one. But when you make something on Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, you increase up the scalability and versatility of it so that you'll be able to use it anywhere you want. And then we have is the long-term impact. When you follow up all of these 9 things, you'll be able to impact, or you'll be able to go on the long term, and you'll be able to increase up your professionalism and recognition at the same time. And just like you can see that I have put 2 of the most important things at the top, brand identity and recognition, and professionalism and trust. So these are one of the most important things which you have to build up. In summary, a logo is more than just a visual mark. It is a strategic tool that plays a vital role in branding, marketing, and communication. It helps in establishing a brand's identity, build trust, differentiating and competitors, and creating a lasting connection with the audience. So let's just hop onto our first class with knowing a bit more about Adobe Photoshop. Now, I'm going to be showing you 2 sections of this course. One is going to be with Adobe Photoshop and another one is going to be Adobe Illustrator. So without any further ado, let's move on to our first class with opening up the introduction and overview and interface of Adobe Photoshop. Welcome to our first class of logo design. In this class, I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about the introduction to Adobe Photoshop. Just like I said on my introduction to this course, we're going to be having 2 different separate sections for this course or for these classes. One is going to be Adobe Photoshop and the other one is going to be Adobe Illustrator. So first one comes Adobe Photoshop. Before getting into our classes of learning how to make those logos, we have to learn a bit about how the Adobe Photoshop functions and what are the tools which you're going to use and its interface. So make sure not to skip any part because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. And make sure to always stay connected to your internet so that you get most of the functions out of it. Without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Adobe Photoshop. I'm using Adobe Photoshop 2024. Now, if you want to try using or whenever you are using any of the software by Adobe Inc., I would suggest you try using the latest version there is. Because when you use the latest version of everything or latest version of the software, you get most of the newest features, you get a lot of bug fixes of that software. So this is how the interface of Adobe Photoshop will look like. First of all, when you open up Adobe Photoshop, it will appear on the home screen or the home platform. So you can see over here we have New File, Open, and then Home. This is where all of your recently worked projects will be available and you can open them up anytime you want. You can also sort them out according to the size, name, and type, and recently worked ones. Okay? And then you'll be able to fix them in an ascending or a descending order. That's going to be basically up to you how you want to work with it. On the right side, you will also be able to filter your recent ones. You'll be able to search them. Let's say if I want to search up for anime, there we go, we have it. So basically, it's going to depend on what type of work do you have or have you done on Photoshop and if it's available on your interface. Then it also allows you to change the viewing angle, not the viewing angle, but the viewing format. If you want it on a listed format, this is how it will look like. If you want it on a grid format or this box type of format, you'll also be able to change it. On the show suggestions, you'll be able to see the features of Adobe Photoshop. It's going to help you to understand more about the newest features available or featured on Adobe Photoshop. Let's go on to the left side of Learn. When you want to learn anything from Adobe Photoshop, you'll be able to use it like this. It will allow you to see the features that are available on Adobe Photoshop and what more you can learn from it. You can see all of these are options. You'll be able to select them and you'll be able to start on the tutorial. You can see get to know layers, get to know the app, get to know selection, and even how to add the image. You don't have to worry about it because in this course, I'm also going to be showing you if you don't have your resources, where are you going to get it from? So this is how the Learn section will work. On the bottom, we have your files. It will show up or represent all your files that have been worked on your account and on your cloud. Now, what is Adobe Cloud? Well, if you worked on Google Drive or OneDrive of, let's say, Microsoft or from Google, you can see that those are kind of cloud drives. You'll be able to save them online and you can work with those elements or work with those projects from anywhere in the world, from any devices when you are connected to the internet and also the cloud. So this is also the same thing. Well, Adobe also has their own type of cloud. It allows you to upload your project and save it up on your account. You will also be able to use it to subscribe to Adobe Inc. It will allow you to use whichever software you want and whichever feature you want to use. Over here, you can see the ones which I've used in a lot of days ago or maybe a year ago. But these are saved on my cloud. So if I just log into my account of this one with any device from anywhere in the world, I'll be able to get the access of it. You'll be able to select up all of them together. You'll be able to see the date it is modified by. You can also fix it up in an ascending or a descending order. If you want to delete any one of these, just click on these three dots and you'll be able to delete them. Not only delete, you'll be able to rename them, duplicate it, move it, select it, and also make it available always offline. Now, one thing about the cloud drive of Adobe is that you will not be able to use this feature when you are not online. So you will be able to save them up on Adobe Photoshop and make it offline, and you'll be able to work with it anytime you want without any hesitation. Over here, you can also make new folders. You can name it up. Let's say I'm going to put in GG, click on save, and a new folder will be created. You'll be able to drag it if you are on an older version, but if you are on the 2024, just click on this three dots, click on move, and you'll be able to save it up over here. Click on move here. It will move that item into that folder. Okay? But one thing you have to keep in mind is that always make sure that you are connected to the internet and make sure that you have your subscription on. Okay? Over here, you'll be able to switch up the formats. You'll be able to filter it out too. You can see using Photoshop on iPad, try Cloud Document. This is also a new feature of Adobe Ink. If you have an iPad, you'll be able to connect it directly to your laptop or your device directly to your iPad. Now let's move on to the next one where we have shared with you. Now, if you're connected to your Cloud Document, obviously you are connected to the internet. And obviously, Adobe Photoshop has that feature of connecting with people and working simultaneously at the same time with multiple people, okay? Because it saves up a lot of time with increased creativity. If anyone shares anything with you, any document or any project, you will be able to see them over here. It allows you to check what they are doing on real time too. So it is a very important and very advantageous feature with which Adobe Photoshop gives you. Over on the delete it, this is basically the recycle bin of Adobe Photoshop. Not only Adobe Photoshop, you will also have it on most of the Adobe Ink softwares. Let's say I'm going to go off on home, and if I delete any one of them, let's say I'm going to do is going to be selecting this, or maybe I'm going to select this. And if I delete any one of them, right click, and you'll be able to delete it, and then you will basically see it on the deleted folder. Let's go off to my files. Let's delete one of these, delete, deleting one item, go off to delete it, and you will basically see it over here. If you want to restore it, just click on this button, and you will be able to restore it. But if you want to permanently delete it, just click on the delete permanently. It will be totally removed from your cloud drive and also your Adobe Photoshop account. Now let's move on to the most important part, which is Photoshop. When you click on the PS sign, it will basically take you to the interface. We will learn a bit about the interface in just a moment. Let's go back to our home. Now, obviously, you want to start off opening up a project. So what you have to do is learn how to make one. Now, if you want to open up any of the project, you can click on Open, and this type of interface will open up. You'll be able to select whichever folder you have on your device, also your drives, and you'll be able to open up anything from let's say, any of these folders. When you have selected any of these things, just press on Open. It will open up directly onto your workspace. Now I'm going to show you how you'll be able to open up one of those resources. Let's just open up any of the browser which you have on your device. Open up pixels.com. Now, if you want to get resources online, obviously try using the royalty-free sites. Well, Pixels is one of them. You can try using Pixels. You'll be able to get videos and also photos at the same time. And one of the most advantageous feature is that all of them are royalty-free, so you'll be able to work with them anywhere you want. You also have the search bar, which allows you to search for the items which you need and meet up your criteria. Let's say maybe I want this, so I'm going to click on download, and it will start downloading in just a moment. Now, after it will be downloaded, how are you going to open it up? First off, open up Adobe Photoshop, click on Open, and you can see this has been opened up, or let's just go off to download. And this is a video, so if I press on that, it will basically just might open up, and you can see that we have reading video format. But let's just open up a photo. Let's say maybe I want this. I'm going to wait for a bit until this one has been downloaded too. You can see this one is downloading, and you can see this one has been downloaded. Okay, but this is just a video which you can also open up. But obviously in this course, I'm going to be showing you about logos, so you're not going to be needing this interface. So you can also close it up if you want to, just like this, just by clicking on that, and you'll be able to remove it. About this feature of Adobe Photoshop, I really like it personally because it allows you to create new tabs every time without discarding the old one. Okay, so if you want to open up another thing or open up another project onto your workspace, what you basically have to do is click on File, click on Open, and just click on the like any resource which you want, and this will be opened up on another platform. And the one previously, which is a video, is right over here. So now you can see how advantageous that is, and you can also close it up anytime you want. Now, obviously, I've shown you just about how you can open up those resources, but how are you going to open up or create a new file? So click on new, it will open up your interface. From here, what you basically have to do is select up any of these presets. Now, there are multiple type of presets which you will find out on this platform. It could be either for your phone, it could be either for film and video, it could be for your website, art and illustration, print, photo, or recent ones. If you still don't want to use these, obviously you will be able to customize it anytime you want. Let's say I want a print and I want A4. So if I click on A4, it will also apply every one of these options over here and customize it on its own. If you want more presets, just click on View All and you will be able to see more. Okay, you can see them on almost all of them. There we go. This is how it works. So I'm going to go off the prints, and if I click on A4, all of these customizations will be applied. You will also be able to find more templates on Adobe Stock. It allows you to see vast amount of presets which you'll be able to use. And one of the most important feature about these presets is that it saves you up a lot of time instead of working up your time on width and height and fixing up the resolution and even the color modes and RGB and the bit depth. So you'll also be able to fix in the width. You'll be able to change it up, but whenever you change it, you'll basically see that it will be custom. You will also be able to change up the formats of what type of measurement you're using. You can use pixels, inches, piecast, points, millimeter, centimeter, according to your need. You can also fix up the height. You can fix up the orientation. You can also fix up the artboard if you want to. You can also fix up the resolution over here. Let's say maybe I want 400. You can also fix in what type of resolution you want, pixel by inch, or if it's pixel by centimeters. Then one of the most important thing is the color mode. Now, if you want to work with basics, always try using RGB. But if you want to get in more of the photo-based, try using CMYK or lab color. It allows you to get more of that raw filter and color corrected photo. But as we are going to be making logo designs, so I would just suggest you use this RGB color. And over here, we have the bit depth. Well, when you are customizing your bit depth, it's also going to affect up your GPU and CPU. So make sure to keep that in mind. If you have a low-end device, just try using up till 16-bit or 8-bit. But if you have a high-end device or a medium-end device, you can try using whichever one you prefer. But if you want the best, or if you want, let's say, decent, professional, just try using 16-bit. It will also give you a very professional type of outcome. So I'm going to keep it on 16-bit. You can also fix up, which color your artboard should be. You can change it to white, black, and you can also this panel here. You can cut it off too. And then we have this color profile. Even on RGB color mode, you'll be able to change up whichever color mode or whichever type of, color mode you want to use. And then we also have pixel aspect ratio. You can also fix them up according to your need. But if you're kind of new to it and you just want to get off to work, you can keep them all default. It's not going to, occur or cause you a problem. Okay? After you're done, just press on create and it will open up that workspace for you. So this is how simple it is. Now, one of the most important feature which you have to do over here when you open up the workspace is go off the Windows, go off the workspace, and then click on Essentials Default. You will also be able to use just Essentials if you are working on 2023 or 2022. But you can keep it just the way it is. So I'm going to click on Reset Essentials, and this is basically how it will look like. It will allow you to use all of these tools over here, and it just makes the workspace a lot more easier to work with. Now, let's move on with the interface. Now you can see on the left side, we have all these tools. Well, this section is basically called the toolbar sections. You'll basically find out all of these tools which you are going to be using in this course. Not only this course, you'll be able to use it anytime you want. You can extend it, you can also collapse it anytime you want. Now, over here, you can see couple of these tools has, or most of these tools has this cornered bump over here. This means there are more tools on these ones. If you right click on them, you'll basically see more tools. Right click, right click, right click. Okay? But on this one, you can see there is no bump. That means there are no other tools except for this one. So make sure to keep that in mind. Over here, we have the zoom tool. Over here, we have the edit toolbar section. Click on this button, or right click on this, and then click on edit toolbar. It will allow you to customize your toolbar however you prefer. You can also take it out of these sections and keep it extra. Okay? And after you're done, you can just press on done and you're basically good to go. Over here, we have the swap sections or swap color. So basically, you'll be able to click on them to select up whichever color you prefer. Swap like this, and you'll be able to change up the color anytime you want. You can also try pressing on M or X to try changing it. And this one is going to be the default. So the default color is black and white. Now, if I select on this and if I keep it on red, I'll be able to swatch it up from red to this color. But what if I want to get back directly into black and white? Just click on this button and it will get back to black and white anytime. Okay? So this is how simple it is. You can also go off to mask mode and also change it up anytime you want. Then we have these options. Basically, it allows you to change the screen modes. There are basically 3 types of screen modes in Adobe Photoshop. Click on one, it will go off to full screen mode. And then we have is the full screen presentation mode. If you want to get out of this mode, just press on escape on your keyboard and basically you will get out into its workspace again. Now let's move on to the top one. This is basically the tab section. This helps you to keep more tabs onto your workspace and fiddle through them and obviously just, toggle through each and every one of those projects. Then we have our D section, which is basically called the properties section. From here, you'll be able to change up different properties, such as width, height, the styles, the feather, different type of formats. You'll basically see that it will change according to which tool you are selecting. Okay? You'll be able to customize it, select it up. Then we have the home button. It basically takes you back to the home section and you'll be able to go through these options again. On the right side, we have our windows. Now, why are these called windows? I'm obviously going to show you. Well, let's say we have swatches, gradients, patterns, we have adjustment, libraries. So what if I take one of these off and close them? Now we don't have any more libraries, but I want it back. So what you basically do is go off the windows and open up libraries again, and it will open up. And why is it called windows? Because obviously you'll be able to take it out and use it however you want. You can also take it up on different groups. You can also open up a whole different section just for it. Okay, this is how simple it is, and you can take it back to where it was too. Okay, so you'll be able to swatch up these options. You'll be able to customize it. Obviously, you'll be able to make more and more over and over again. And obviously, you'll be able to collapse each and every one of them so it doesn't look that big. You can also adjust it up. There we go. I can take it back to where it was. See, this is how simple it is. Navigating in Adobe Photoshop is very simple. You just basically use your scroll key. When you press on Control, you'll be able to go left and right. If you press on the Alt, you'll be able to zoom in and out. And if you press on Shift, you'll basically go up and down. So this is how it is, okay? I'm going to select on this. There we go. On the top part is one of the thing which has the most features, which is basically the ribbon of Adobe Photoshop. Well, all the software has ribbons. Let's start off with our first one of Adobe Photoshop, which is File. If you want to open up a file, you want to browse, you want to open up, close them, save as, invite people, export, generate, search for stocks, automate, script, import, file info, version history, print, and also exit your software. Just go off to this file section, and you will also see the assigned shortcut keys for these commands. Then we have is the edit section or the edit toolbar, not the edit toolbar, the edit ribbon. It helps you to cut, copy, paste, search for, spellings, then fill, the stroke, content aware, generate fill, change of the perspective, free transform, basically undoing or let's say editing everything you have on your interface as your resource. You'll be able to create PDF presets, different presets, color settings, also have assigned profiles, preferences, keyboard shortcuts, menus, toolbars, and everything. Where we're going to go through preferences right after we're done with all of these ribbons. On the image section, you'll be able to adjust your image, apply autotone, contrast, and color, fix the size of it, fixing the rotation, crop them, duplicate them, apply variables, data sets, analysis, adjustments, and modes. On the layers, we have the layer settings, such as copying. Then we have SVG, CSS, export. Then we have quick export, layer mask, vector mask, smart objects, video layers, group layers, arranging, aligning, linking. Then we also have merge, matting, everything. You will see them on this layer ribbon. On the type ribbon, you'll basically find out most of the typography options or typography commands, such as panels, Adobe fonts, extrude to 3D, match font, font preview, language option, update text layers. All of those will be available over here. Even on working paths, convert to shape. Okay. Then we have a select. The select ribbon is basically how it is or how it sounds. You'll be able to select them, deselect them, inverse, reselect, color range, focus area, subject, sky. Well, these are auto features which you will find out on the newer versions of Adobe Photoshop. Well, if you are using Adobe Photoshop 2020 or maybe 2019 or lower, you will not see these options. So basically you have to keep that thing in mind. Then we have is filter. On the filter, you will basically find out all the filters that are available on Adobe Photoshop, adaptive filters, camera raw filters, lens corrections, liquify, vanishing points, 3D blur, blur gallery, distort, noise, pixelation, and so on. You can also convert to smart filters, apply neural filters at the same time. On the viewing ribbon, you will basically see everything how you can customize your workspace. Let's say you want extras to be available. You want rulers. If you want rulers, you can just click on it and ruler will be available. You can also turn them off anytime you want. You can also click over here. You can also turn off extras. It's basically up to you, whichever one you prefer. And obviously you will find out zoom in and out, 100%, print size, proofing, guides, slices, locking them up, clearing them up. All of those options will be available over here. On the plugins, you'll be able to see plugin panel, plugin browsing, and also managing the plugins. On the Windows section, you'll basically see the same things which I've already shown you. Well, you can arrange it up. You can arrange it however you prefer. You can see go off the range. You'll be able to fix out how you want your windows to be. Basically, these are the windows. You'll be able to fix them up in tile, floating, matching, and you can also go off to different workspaces depending on what type of work you're going to do. And if you want more of these windows, just click on any one of them and those will open up onto the workspace. And the last one, we basically have help. If you want to get help directly from Adobe Photoshop, you can get hands-on tutorials and Photoshop help. You'll know about the plugins. And one of the thing about this or Adobe Photoshop when you're working with it is that you have to know a bit about your system. Go off the system info. It will show you about the system information. It will show you about the specs, what specification it has and all. You can copy it if you want to. And if you obviously want to see that it is compatible, so you'll be able to work with it fluently and also fluid. Okay? And you can obviously see what you basically need to do. OpenGL available, drivers out of date. You'll be able to update it and it is recommended. So you'll be able to update driver or whatever it recommends to get the best optimization out of the software of Adobe Photoshop. On the right side or the right corner above the windows, we have the share button. It allows you to connect or share with people. Click on share and it will open up another workspace. Let's say if I click on this and make a workspace or make this, and if you want to share it, you'll be able to share it. You can also search for any element over here. You can discover it and you will be able to use AI at the same time too. And obviously you'll be able to change the windows from this section too. This is how simple it is. If you have customized all of your workspace and you still can't find anything, you can just click on Reset Essentials. This will get back to how it basically was. Now, the last thing which we need to know is about the preference. So go off the preference just by clicking on Edits ribbon, go at the bottom and click on Preferences. Click on General, and this type of interface will open up. Now try using the same type of options which I've kept it turned on. Auto show the home screen, export to clipboard, resizing image, always create smart object while placing. You can also turn it off and on if you want to. Then we have is the workspace. Keep turning on auto show hidden panels, open documents as tab, large tabs, enable floating. Okay. Then let's go off to, let's say, tools. You'll be able to customize your tools if you want to. You can go off the interface and customize it according to your need. Then you can also go off the cursor. You can fix it up if you cannot find the smoothness in your working or in your project while working. Then we have this image processing. Just keep both of them on faster, not on stable. Because obviously, if you have a higher end device or a medium end device, just keep it on faster. But if you are on a low end device, just keep it on more stable, okay? It will adjust itself to your specification of your device. And over here, device quicker result, just keep it on quicker result, okay? The last thing which we need to do is about the technology previews. Just keep it on precise preview of 16-bit document. It will allow you to get the best professional type of outcome out of Adobe Photoshop. And also turn on enable preserve details 2.0 upscale, so that you'll be able to upscale up your elements and it would not lose any resolution. Okay? And you can also go off file handling. You can fix it up too, but I would just suggest you to keep it just the way it is. And after you're done, just press on OK. And basically now you know everything about the interface and overview of Adobe Photoshop. So hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion about any part of this class, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. Just make sure not to skip anything, okay? And let's move on to our next class of logo design with Adobe Photoshop. Welcome to the second section of this course. In this section, we are going to learn how we can make logo designs with Adobe Illustrator. But before getting into the part or before getting into our classes, we need to know about how the overview and interface of Adobe Illustrator looks like. So obviously we're going to learn about it because obviously we don't want a hassle during the whole thing and a bit of confusion. If you are new to Adobe Illustrator, then this class is just for you. Because if you are experienced to it, you will get along with our classes. But as this is a beginner friendly class, I'm also going to be showing you about the introduction to Adobe Illustrator. Make sure to always stay connected to the internet because most of the features that are available on Adobe Illustrator are now connected to the internet. And whenever you are working with any software of Adobe Inc., just make sure you are using the newest version available because it's going to contain a lot of bug fixes and a lot of new features through each and every update. So make sure not to skip any part because if you do, you might miss out on something very important and then face some problems later on. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Illustrator on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Adobe Illustrator. Now, you can basically see, or if you've seen my previous introduction to Adobe Photoshop, it kind of looks the same, but just a bit different. Now, what is different over here? It's because the presets are right over on the platform. Now, another thing which you have to keep in mind is that on Adobe Illustrator, we don't have any recent files. But if you do have recent files which you've worked on, those will also appear over here. But obviously, this part of opening up any preset is going to be here all the time on Adobe Illustrator. It just saves up a lot more time than getting into new file and then selecting a preset. But there's going to be very common ones over here, but you can click on more preset and open them up. Now you can go off to show suggestions and you can see the suggestions, which new features are available with text, And then we have generate graphics with the prompt 2. Now let's start off. When you open up Adobe Illustrator, you will basically open up on the Home tab or the Home section. From here, you will basically see the recently worked files, and also it will allow you to click on or select on the preset which you want to start working with. On the Learn section, you'll be able to see these type of other sections or other options to open up in Adobe Illustrator as a class or as a tutorial. Let's say tour of the app, discover how Illustrator artwork is unique, jump into color, and a lot of these tutorials which you can open up directly onto the platform of Adobe Illustrator. You can also click on View All to see all of the ones or all of the exercises which Adobe Illustrator gives you hands-on tutorials. Then on the bottom, we have your files. On your files, you can basically see we have this folder on Adobe Illustrator 2. But this is not what I opened up on Adobe Illustrator. This is what I opened up on Adobe Photoshop. But as this is connected to the cloud drive, so this is synced up together, okay? But you'll also be able to make new folders from this section. You can change up the viewing format and you can filter them up just the way you want to. We also have the same section shared with you. If you have any shared files with you to your cloud or forward it to your file or forward it to your account, all of those will appear over here. And you can also share it to people, and that person will also have it on this section. Then we have is the deleted section. Here you will have the deleted files. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that obviously you'll be able to change up the format of view, but if you have anything or any resources that are here on the deleted folder for more than 30 days or for 30 days, you have to keep in mind the next day it will be removed, because anything that is like on this deleted folder will be removed after 30 days. And that's how it works. Now let's go off to Home. You'll be able to select up any of these presets and it will open up the workspace for you. Just wait for a bit and then you will basically see the workspace has appeared. And obviously you will be able to close them up anytime. Just click on this and it will take you back to the Home tab. If you want more presets, just click on more preset and you will basically see the same type of interface or same type of platform just as it was on Adobe Photoshop. Let's just close it and let's just click on open. Let's open up the web browser again and get ourselves a resource. Let's go up to pixels.com and I'm obviously going to be using this photo. So I have downloaded this photo and try not using any videos on Adobe Illustrator because it cannot read sometimes. So click on open, go off to download, and there we go. Let's open it up. And there we go. This is how it will look like. You can zoom in and out, but I'm going to show you everything about the interface after we are done, or I've shown you most of the things about the interface. Okay. If you want to open up a new file, just click on new file. And basically this is how it will appear. From here, you will be able to see the recently worked ones. You can also see the saved ones. There are nothing saved. You can go off the mobile section. You can view all presets. And there are also templates which you'll be able to use, which will help you to save a lot of time and labor. You can go off the web, click on presets, and there are also presets or templates over here. Print, all presets, and templates. Film and video, templates and presets, art and illustration, you can also see them, and also free templates that are going to be free to use. And obviously on Adobe stock, not all the things are free, so you have to keep that thing in mind. And you can download whichever one you want. Let's say if you want to download any one of them, just click on any one of them and just press on download. It will take a bit of time and you can see Adobe stock has opened up. You just have to stay connected to the internet and wait for a bit until it loads up on your device. There we go. It has been downloaded and you'll be able to open them up anytime you want. You can also see a preview of each and every one of these templates. Just click on see preview and this is basically how it will look. Not only this, you'll be able to open up different ones to click on see preview and this is how it looks. Okay, click on this, see preview. This is how it will look like. You can click on download. It will just, take a bit of time to download them up on your device, but you just have to make sure that you are connected to the internet, you are connected to your account, and you have the subscription to Adobe. Okay? And just try using the newest version of Adobe, whichever software you are using. Okay? There we go. This is downloading, and that one has already been downloaded. And you will be able to open them up anytime you want. Okay? If you want to search for any templates on Adobe Stock, you can search it directly from here. You don't have to go off to any web browser and open it up. So that is how simple it is through each and every update on Adobe Photoshop or any Adobe account. And try using Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop 2024, which is the latest version available right now. You will get all of these features over here. Let's go off the print and select up any of the presets which I want to work with on this class. If I want to work with A4, I'm going to click on that, and all of the customizations will be available over here. We can see the width, you can see the height. Now, if I want to change the pie cast, this is how it's going to be. If I want to change the feet, this is the number, or this is the amount of range. If I keep it on pixels, this is the number of pixels which is going to need to make this specific A4 size. And obviously you will be able to name it up to, let's say I'm going to put it new. Okay, so there we go. We have new. You can fix in the width and height if you want to customize it. Obviously you'll be able to customize it the way you want to. Let's say maybe I want to put something like this. This is how it will work. But if I just keep it on like this, there we go. We have customized it and kept it just the way it needs to be. You can fix in the orientation if you want landscape or portrait, and you can also just swatch them up anytime you want. And you can fix in the number of artboards which you want on your platform. If you want one, you can also keep it one. If you want two, you can also keep it two. How are you going to understand that? Let's just go off to new files. Let's just open up print. If I click on any one of them, click on see preview, you can see this one. This is basically one page or one artboard. This is the second one, and this is the third one, fourth one, and so on. So this is basically the number of artboards which you want to work with. So I'm going to click on A4. So I'm going to just keep it one for this class because obviously we don't need a lot more of them, but you can keep it two if you want to. Then you can fix out the bleeds if you want to. You can fix it up. You can also link them and unlink it so you can customize it on each and every corner. On the advanced option, you'll be able to fix out which color mode you want to work with. It could either be CMYK, RGB, okay? So if you are using Adobe Illustrator and you want the best color and best shades out of everything, then I would suggest you just try using CMYK because it allows you to use rasterized and also use color corrected photos with the best color density. Okay, but when you use RGB, it's just going to be using those 3-color wavelength and going to be customizing it and adjusting itself. And most of the things when you are working with Adobe Illustrator, you have to upscale it. So when you upscale it, it might not be the same. So just try using CMYK because I would suggest you, and that would you will just get the best results out of it instead of RGB. Because in a lot of cases, you have to just revert it back to CMYK again, even when you're working with RGB. Then we have the raster effect. It's also going to depend onto your device. If you have a low-end device, just try using 36 ppi or 72 ppi. You can also use medium if you want to. But if you have a medium-end device or a high-end device, you can just go for basically anything. But even on medium, I would just try using medium, which I mostly do. And it also gives you the best professional type of results. And if you want higher density, you can also do that. Okay. I'm going to keep it on 150 ppi and the preview mode should be on default. If you want on pixels, you can also keep it on pixels, but I just try keeping it on default because when I am upscaling it on pixels, sometimes I see a bit of rough edges. And when I use overprints, it just upscales it sometimes. Okay. So I just keep it on default. It just adjusts itself to how it needs to be on the best situation. Okay. And you can also see on more settings, you'll be able to customize it just the way you want to. And after you're done, you can also open up like templates if you want to, but I'm going to click on this cancel. I'm going to put on new. Okay. And then press on create. And then I'm going to wait for a bit until this platform opens up. And you can see we have 2 pages. This is art page 1 or artboard 1, and this is artboard 2. Now, just like Adobe Photoshop, the first thing what you have to do is fix in your workspace. Go off to Windows, click on Workspaces, and click on Essentials Classic. It will allow you to see most of the tools which is important onto your workspace. You can also reset it up anytime you want. Just go off to Workspace, Essentials Classic, and this is how it will look like. But the thing which I did are the one which was visible. I customized it the way I want it to look like. Okay. Now let's get into the interface of Adobe Illustrator. First thing is that on the left side over here, we have is the toolbar. The toolbar is going to contain all of the tools of Adobe Illustrator. From here, you can see on these toolbars, there is a corner bump. That means that there are more tools inside of it. So I'll be able to use that tool. If I click on this, I'll also be able to use that tool. But if I right click on this one, I'll be able to use group. So there are two tools over here. And if you click on them, there are more. Okay, you can see more tools. But the ones which doesn't have the bump, you will not be able to open them up. Dimension is kind of new. You can also see how this works. Okay, them all like step by step. Okay, after all of these tools, you can see that you'll be able to them and expand them anytime. It's the color palette, colors according to your need. If you need black or if you need them up anytime you want. Select on white, and if I keep it on blue, I'll be able to use two of these colors, right? What if I want to get back to black and white very fast without this and then changing the color? What you basically do is select on this button over here. You'll be able to swap up these colors. Button. It just basically selects the default and it will just get back to black and white. Okay, so it just saves up a lot of time. Color mode, then we have the gradient mode, and then we have is the no fill mode. Okay, so make sure to select this up when you are working on anything or when you're making anything, because it's going to depend on what type of color you want to put. If you want to put in gradient, outlay, or gradient color formats, it will have the gradient options. If you want to use fill color, just keep it on over here. And if you want like just select on this. Then we have is the mask mode. So we have draw normal, we have draw behind, and then we also have draw inside to make up shapes inside and outside of any shape, overlay it, or maybe even beneath it. As this Adobe Illustrator is an graphic manipulation software, so it's going to just give you all which actually help you to boost up the time of your work and just makes it a bit more comfortable with it. Okay, and a couple of viewing modes. Select on this, you can change into screen mode with menu bar, and you can also go off directly into presentation mode. Get out of it, just press on escape, and it will just take you off to the first one. Okay, so basically we are done with this part, and the bottom we have toolbar. You'll be able to customize your toolbar according to your need. You can also select up which type of viewing format you want. You can also select this up and you will be able to select on advanced or basic, and you can also make new toolbars and manage them up at the same time. Same way as Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator also works on the tabular form. If you want to open up another, let's say, or another project, you can just go off the file. Let's say I'm going to open up another thing. Open. I'm going to open up this one and it will just open up on another tabs. It just helps you to fiddle through each and every one of these workspaces. Okay. So now you can see that this is how advanced, like from updates to updates. On like 2019 or 2016, you will basically see it is not the same one of these projects at the same time. Okay, so as I've already, let's just zoom out, or we can also close it off anytime. We can just press on no and it will be removed, but the one which is all behind or which I already opened up at the beginning is still available. Okay, so first thing what I'm going to do now is that we're going to go off the right side. On the right side, we have our windows. Now, you might think that why are these called windows? So one thing, what I'm going to show you over here is that, let's say I'm going to go off the libraries, which I also did on my Photoshop, but it also works the same way over here. Over here and you accidentally close it, how are you going to get it back? You will not find it over here. But if you go off to Windows, if you just click on the one which you've removed, let's say libraries, click on that and that one is back. And you're able to take it out and use it anywhere you want it to be. You can also make other sections for it. You can also take it. You can also like go off over here libraries and take it to where it was. Okay. You'll also be able to to your desired size. You can also collapse it and extend it however you need. Okay. It's going to be working like, I'm going to go off the properties now, and you will also be able to, extend it, collapse these ones too. More of these stacks according to your need. Okay. And obviously you can just take up the whole group and take it out. You can see the whole group will be able to take and keep it right over here. Okay. So this is how the windows work in Adobe Illustrator and also on. As we're done with this, now the one which we see over here are basically called the properties panel or the properties section. Now this is not going to be the same on like most of the time or all of the time. It's going to depend on which tool you have selected. On pencil, you'll basically see now it will change. It will be based on text. It's going to show you alignments too. This, it will also be a bit different. If I click on this, it will be a bit more different. Okay. So it's just going to depend on which tool you have. This is gradient. If I click on this is how it's going to be looking like. If I select on this is how it's going to be looking like. Okay. So it's just going to change a tool you have selected and which one you are going to use. On the top part, we have our basic ribbons. Up to the first one, but we also have this home button, which allows you to go back to the home tab or the home section of Adobe Illustrator more anytime you want. But if you click on this back button, it will take you back into the working interface. Okay. So on the file ribbon, we have new, open, close, save as, version history, save as template, Adobe stock, place, export, package script, document setup, document color mode, file info, print, exit, and all of them. Now, one thing which you have is that about opening up a new tab or opening up a new, let's say, tab. Okay, let's just open up a new project. Click on new. The same type of interface which you see on the home section will appear over here. Let's say I want another A4. I'm going to press on create another document or another project for me. And I will be also just able to cut them out anytime I want. Okay. Now, edits, you'll basically see cut, copy, paste. And we have paste on all our boards, paste without formatting, clear, find, replace, spelling, dictionary, original, print presets, PDF preset, color settings, assign profile, keyboard shortcuts, my settings, preferences, paint style over here. And after I'm done with all of these ribbons, I'm going to show you about your settings or my settings and also the preferences which you have to follow up, customize so that you get the best output and the best optimization out of Adobe Illustrator. On the object section, basically is transform, align, distribute, arrange, group, ungroup, lock, unlock, hide, show, expand, rasterize, create, gradient. Then we also have a couple of paths like make, pixel, perfect, slice, path, shape, pattern, repeat, blend, and a lot of them. Path, artboards, graph, click for export, and all of them. Okay. On the type platform or the type ribbon, we will basically find most of the commands to typography, such as fonts, recent fonts, size, glyphs, type conversion, fit headline, find, retype, bullets and numbers, special characters, break characters, hidden characters, and all of them. Okay. On the select ribbon, out all of the selection type of commands, such as deselect, reselect, inverse, below, same, object, global edit, save selection, edit selection, and all of them. On the effect ribbon, you'll basically find out, the filters, which you will find out on Adobe Photoshop, and also about a couple of Illustrator effects, which are going to be based on shape. Okay. So you have to keep that thing in mind that Photoshop is a whole different thing. It works on with images, and Illustrator effects are mostly based on shapes. So you'll be able to apply those filters on your shapes and rasterize effects. Okay. Then on the viewing section or the viewing ribbon, you'll basically find out a commands. You can also go down. Okay. So basically there's like a lot of these commands such as outline, preview, CPU, over print view, presentation mode, screen mode, proof setups, proof color, zoom in and out, rotation, slices, size. Then we also have like guides, edges. We also have perspective grids, rulers. We have snaps. All of them will be over here on view. It's basically just going to just or customize the way your workspace looks like. Okay. So all of those commands or all of those settings will be over here on view. On the ribbon, basically you'll be able to customize your windows. But one of the most important thing over here is that obviously you'll be able to change your workspace according to what you're doing. If you want to do just only typography, just click on typography and all of the typing type of commands or tools will be available over recording and also with the windows. Okay. But I most of the time just try using Essentials Classic because it just allows me to use Adobe at ease, and whatever type of things I do, I just don't feel any problem with it. Okay. But obviously if you feel like this is or if you feel like it's an hassle, obviously just customize it the way you want to because I have my own tools which I use most of the time over here and over here. It is just not like that's, problematic for me. But if you want any other ones or other windows, just click on the one. Let's say maybe I want a whole different window just for alignment. Click on that, and there we go. We have alignments. I'm gonna take it over here directly in form over here. There we go. We have 3 of them now. Okay. So this is how it works. And the last one which we have is help. If you want to get from Adobe Illustrator or from directly Adobe, you can select on this Illustrator help, tutorials, and all of those, bug like info and all of that. And if you want to check on updates, just click on that. It will just take you directly to Creative Cloud desktop. And from there, you'll be able to see if it's available or not. Okay, it just allows you to use it and also see what type of updates are available. Now, let's move on to you can go off and export your settings and also import your settings so that it also takes up whatever settings you have applied on your preferences. So let's go off the preferences. The first thing, let's go off the general. It will open up all of those. You don't have to worry about it. Now over here on general, what you're going to do, precise cursor always turned on because it's going to give you the smooth, fluid, and also that optimized feeling. Okay. But if you don't have it turned on a bit and it might not look like, it's optimized. Okay. It's just not good to the eye. Okay. Then we have this anchor display. Keep it all default. Make any of these. Then let's move on to one of the most important thing about is devices and performance. Always turn on GPU performance and animation. But if you want no zoom or no animation, you can also turn it off. And one thing what will happen if you don't have animated zoom is that it will just snap directly. Keep it turned on. And if I just zoom in, if I press on Alt, you basically see this is how it will look like. Okay. But if you have is going to be going off to edits, go off to preferences, go off to general. If I go off to performance and if I have animated zoom, it's going to be a lot more fluid, lots more frames inside of it. Okay. So to keep it turned on is going to make it look a lot more better. And I just prefer like keeping it turned on allows me to see which pixels I'm missing, which place am I zooming into. Okay. So keep it turned on most of the time. Let's go off the general like performance. You can check out your GPU details. History states 100 and obviously turn on real-time drawing and editing because obviously if you just drawing something but it is like getting delayed, you're not going to feel any better. It's just going to feel like it's stuttering. So keep this turned on most of the time, but if you have a low-end device, you can turn it off and check it out if it's optimized. Okay. Then on your interface, if you want to customize your interface the way it looks like, you can also turn it on and off. You can see this is how it looks like. You can turn it black. You can turn it a bit of gray, white.
but I just most of the time keep it on this color, but I'm going to try this dark over here too. Canvas color should match the brightness, and also keep it to, and we have is a share button over here. We can keep it blue or, whichever color you want. Okay. I'm going to keep it blue, and then turned off auto collapse iconic panels and keep both of them turned on, and scroll button at two ends. Okay. Not together. Then we have is hyphen. Go check out which language you want to use. Smart guides, you can also like customize your guides, which color it should be. If it should be cyan, you can change it if you prefer. Okay. So basically this is how it works. And you can also change up the unit of measurement for your local area or your local region. Most of the time people like don't like using points, pikas, and all of those, but it just basically depends on which region you are using it in. Want to internationalize it, you can keep it on pixels or maybe inches or maybe feet, whichever one you prefer, so that it's going to show you about that when you are working with it. Okay. And keep it object name, not XML ID, because when you use XML ID, you will not be able to differentiate and you will not be that easily. Okay. So basically, this is how it works. You can also change up the like which type of black you want. You can see which devices are your device. Okay, so basically, this is it. What you basically have to do. And one thing what you're gonna do is check out all of these options over here and keep it. And you can also see the zoom with mouse wheel, but I just don't like using zoom with mouse wheel. But if you want to, you can also do that. I just don't like for mouse wheel is that if I want to go up and down, what you basically have to do is when you turn it on, you have to use your arrow keys on your keyboard. For that, I just try using, like, I just keep it turned off. And you can also see scale, strokes, and effect. You can turn them on and off if you want to. And obviously, option over here, force enable pinch to zoom on touchpad. If you have a touchpad, then I would just suggest you that turn it on. But if you like using your mouse, or if you already have a mouse which you use, if you're on your laptop and still use your mouse, then I would just suggest you keep it turned on. But if you do not have a mouse, or if you don't like using a mouse, then I would suggest you not to do this. Okay. So this is basically all it, and hope you and after you're done, just press on OK. And if you want to reset your preferences, you can do that too. And basically that's it. Okay. Now on the right part, it just allows you to share your document. And over here, we also have arrange document in what type of format you want. And over here, we have is the switch. So basically, this is how easy it is on Adobe Illustrator and about its interface and workspace. And hope everything in this class. And at the bottom and on the right, we have our rulers, which will be able to help you to navigate through it. Left and right and top and bottom is that if you just use your scroll key, you can see, just like I said, it just goes up and down. But if you press on control, it's just going to go left and right. If you press on alt, it's zoom in and out. But if you hold on a shift, it's going to go up and down like this. Okay. So now you know about the navigation too. You can also use your, navigate it, go wherever you want and place it up. Okay. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end, and in my next lesson.
First class of logo design with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a text logo design just by using Adobe Photoshop. Now, if you still didn't see my first lesson about the introduction to Adobe Photoshop, then I would suggest you go check it out again, because there's going to be a couple of things which you need to know if you have zero experience with Adobe Photoshop. So, as I'm going to be showing you about text logo design, make sure not to skip any part of this class too, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. Now, as I've already opened up Adobe Photoshop, now what you basically have to do is that you have to open up yourself a new file. So for that, what we're going to do over here is going to be clicking on New File, and then select the preset or the size, whichever one you want to use. Now, this is going to be a logo design, so I'm going to just select on Art and Illustration. Now, you can go off for 1000 into 1000 pixels, which is going to be 300 ppi, which is obviously going to give you a very good type of outcome and a result. So I'm going to click on Create, and this will just make myself up this type of preset or this artboard. Now from here, what you basically have to do is that put in yourself a bit of text, but always make sure that whenever you are working on Adobe Photoshop, keep this layers windows turned on because that is going to be very helpful. So first things first is what we're going to do is click on this text option, and I'm going to do is going to be clicking on horizontal type text tool. Okay. And I'm going to select up the part on which part I want the text to be. So this is the text. Now I'm going to put in something. I'm going to select on Control A, delete all, and then put in your own text. Let's say if I type in TRO, or maybe type in TRO like this. Now select up the text again and select up the font. Let's say maybe I want something around 72. Okay, this is like totally perfect. And now I'm going to go off the character section. You can also change it from here, but you can also change it from here. Right click on this and select up the font, whichever one you want to use. So let's say I'm going to go down a bit more and find out the one which is actually looking a bit more better. There's going to be a lot of these samples which you will find out on Adobe Photoshop. And even though if you cannot find the one which you actually want, obviously you'll be able to download them, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. So let's just keep going down and find out the sample which is actually going to be looking good. Okay, this one looks good too. This one also looks kind of good. We can try using this. This one also looks decent, okay? Now over here we have the text layer, and this is basically the background. Even if we remove the background, the text layer is obviously going to be there, okay? So make sure to keep that thing in mind. Now I'm going to do is going to be rasterizing the effects so that I can take each and every one of them as a shape. So right click on, like select this layer, right click on this, and obviously rasterize the type. Now, when I rasterize the type, you can basically see if I turn this off, this is how it looks like, okay? But this is still not a shape. So we have to turn it into a shape. So click on this option over here or click on this button to select up the area. Right click on it. And then what you're going to do is going to be cut out the part. So layer via cut. There we go. Select on all of them. Right click, layer via cut. Okay, select up this layer first. Right click, layer via cut. Now you can see R as a different one, T as a different one. Select up this. And there we go. We have O as a different. So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on that. I'm going to click on layer via cut. Okay. So we have each and every one of them as individual ones. Okay. So I'm going to select on that. And first things first is that what we're going to do is make layers or customize this just a bit. Okay. First things first is that we're going to select on this pen tool, and I'm going to do is going to be selecting or starting from this part. So I'm going to do is going to be starting from this part, select. What I'm going to do is going to be making a bit of this rounded shape right over here. There we go. Control Z. This is what I want. Zoom out a bit. There we go. I basically want a leaf over here, so I'm going to do is customize it just a bit. Control Z, select up that part. And then I'm going to do is going to be, okay, let's just select on this area, Control Z again. There we go, looks quite good. As we have that, Control Z. Let's just undo this part over here. Control Z, just a bit shorter. There we go. Control Z, select up that area. Let's like see this. Let's just make it a bit more short. There we go. We got this. And then select on this part. And cut out, or let's say I'm going to do is going to be selecting something like this. Okay, let's just zoom out. And obviously you'll be able to change up the color of the path. Let's say if I have a path, this is going to be the shape. So make sure to always put in the shape too. Obviously just select on again. First off, just change it to, let's say, linear, or let's say I'm going to put it to be only stroke first. So let's just zoom in again. Click on that, select up the path. You can select up like this shape, and then you can change up the color just by clicking on swatch. But this is still on, let's say, a layer, okay? Or this is still a path, okay? So you just have to make sure that this has turned into a shape. Only then you'll be able to turn it into a color. So I'm going to do is going to be, let's say I'm going to remove all of these and turn that back into a shape. So I'm going to click on this pen tool again. This is going to be the shape. So let's click on this first. Let's zoom in a bit more. This is how it's going to be. So I'm going to do is going to be making something different over here right now. There we go. Now from here, what you can basically do is just select on this and change up the color. This is how it will look like. And then what you can basically do is that we have the shape, right? Now we can just take this out, press on delete, and this is how it will look like. Okay. But you can also customize it just the way you want to. You can press on Control Z to make different shapes out of it. Let's say maybe I'm going to click on this pencil again. And obviously you'll be able to customize it the way you want to. If you want to make a leaf, obviously you'll be able to do that too. Let's say maybe I'm going to do is going to be turning it out something like this. There we go. Corner. And now take this up till here. And then you can obviously change the color. Okay, there we go. And take out this R over here and delete it. So we have one of this. Now, what I'm going to do is going to be customizing our T just a bit, okay? Because we want the T to also look a bit like this R, like rounded, okay? So I'm going to do is going to be taking this T over here and clicking on the shape. First things first, I'm going to do is going to be selecting of the parts where it needs to be cut. That is basically it. So let's just select up this area. Control Z. This is what we want basically. But I'm going to do is going to be customizing this one just a bit too. Also, I'm going to do is customize this just a bit more. Let's say maybe something around this one. Something like this. There we go. This is the exact shape we need. Now select up the part, select on this, and select first off, select on this one, right click. And you're going to do is going to be rasterizing this one too. Rasterize the layer. There we go. Now, first things first is that you have to select up this area. Now right click on it, and obviously you can make a layer cut out of this if you want to, but obviously you'll be able to delete up the bottom part. So as we have the shape, now I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this and then click on this quick selection tool over here. Keep it on, and then you're going to do is going to be selecting this part, okay? Now, after you select on this part, just press on delete. Or first off, you have to make sure, what I'm going to do is going to be pressing on delete, and then this is going to be selected, okay? Then press on control,
Make sure to select on T over here, just this one T. And then first off, press on delete, okay? Now, when you press on delete, just make sure to click on this. And then if you just try removing up this part, and there you go, you can see that this one has been like removed. So I'm going to do is going to be deleting up this part. Now we can just remove up this part because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting up or finding this part. Let's just say I'm going to do is delete it. There you go. Deselect. Just unlock it and delete. So we have our T over here, we have our R, and we have our O. Now I want to customize this O just a bit because I want to scale this R, okay? Another thing, what I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this pen tool over here, and I'm going to do is going to be clicking on shape. There we go. This is what it should be looking like. This is how it should be. Select up the color and make sure to keep it black. Select up this area and remove this. There we go. We have our T. And the last thing we need is to do is customize our O. And basically this is very simple if you follow up these steps. Now, as we've removed our actual text, now I'm going to go off to our shapes, which is this one and this one. So this is the R, and I'm going to do is going to be rasterizing this. So there we go. We have rasterized it. And now click on this quick selection tool again and select up this part and then go off the select. And we're going to do is going to be modifying it to expand it. So click on expand and now expand it by the number you want to expand it by. So it could be either 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do is going to be putting in something like, let's say around 20. Apply effect. You can also apply effect on canvas background too if you want to, but I would suggest you not to do it because if you do, like sometimes it discards, but you can try using it too and press on OK. This is how it's going to look like. Now you're going to do is going to just press on, like keep it on something like this and select on O. There we go. Select on this O over here. Just press on this. Press on delete. There we go. You can also select on this and also delete. Okay, you just have to rasterize this T2 over here. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this part and this part. Right click, you have to rasterize that layer. There we go. Now if you just check it out, Control D or Control Delete. Now deselect it. There we go. We have our R over here. And you'll be able to customize it however you prefer. This is how it looks like. And obviously you'll be able to customize this O too. So I'm going to click on this O over here. And you can just like change up the way it looks like. Okay, you can just change the way or the color of this like this. You can fill it up with color, or you can just use this pen tool to make its shape too. So I'm going to do is going to be making its shape. There we go. We have that shape. Now obviously we can just take that out. There we go. This is how it will look like. Now you can select up all of these, group them up, and then what you basically have to do is rasterize each and every one of them. So especially this O over here, right click, rasterize the layer, and there we go, we have our shape. Now what you can basically do is change up the color of these ones too. Let's say maybe you can go off the colors and you can select up the part, but the more easier way is that just click on this effects over here and then go off to color option, color overlay, or maybe gradient overlay. So I'm going to put in something like gradient overlay. So I'm going to do is put on like this. And if I just turn it on, if I'm put it in normal, what I do is going to be putting in something around like greens. You can also customize it the way you want to. Maybe I'm going to put it something like this. Go to the next one, go off to effects, gradients overlay, put the same thing if you want to. Let's say I'm going to put in radial this time. And you can just change up whichever color you prefer. Maybe somewhere around this. There we go. And now we'll just go to the last one, effects, gradients overlay, change it to a different color too. Maybe something, I want something like this on the O, like a bit green, okay? So what you can do is just customize it the way you want to. And what I can also do is apply a bit of stroke so that it also looks good. So I'm going to go off the stroke, can fix in the stroke size. Opacity should be higher. Position should be outside. Color should be also gradient. There we go. Can change up whichever color you prefer. There we go. And you can also put it inside if you want to, okay? It's basically up to you, whichever one you want. So I'm going to put it outside most of the time. That's what I do. Press on OK. And there we go. We have our logo. You can just put it up on any mockup you have. And you can also save it up and use it anytime you want to. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end and hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. Welcome to our second class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, we're going to learn about how we can make a letter logo design just by using Adobe Photoshop. Now, in my previous class, I've shown you how you can make a very simple and very basic text logo design. Well, in this class, we're also going to be using the same steps and a couple of the same tools, and I'm going to show you how to make the logo out of it. So make sure not to skip any part, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. So make sure to always stay connected to the internet, okay? And whatever resource I'll be using in this course or in this class, I will also attach it to my resource file with this whole course. You can download it whenever you want to. But if I don't have it, you will not be able to use it either. So without any further ado, let's just hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see on my device that I have already opened up Adobe Photoshop. Now, the first thing what we have to do is open ourselves up a new file with a new preset. So I most of the time just prefer using this art and illustration for logo design because this just gives me off a very square type of preset and a square type of artboard to work with. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to do is going to be fixing up the resolution somewhere around 600 because I need better and higher ones. So I'm going to keep it like somewhere around 16-bit so that even if I scale it up, it doesn't lose its resolution. So I'm going to press on create and there we go. We have our page. And this is also 600 in resolution and also we have our bit depth to be around 16-bit this time. So it's going to be a bit more better than the last one, okay? Because in our last class, we've used 8-bit. But if you obviously, if you have an, or like, let's say a low-end device, that's going to be perfect for you. So make sure to keep that thing in mind, okay? So you can also try out 16-bit if you want to, and you can also higher up your resolution and check it out, okay? So now the first thing, what we have to do over here, we just need a text, okay? So I'm going to put in a text. There we go. I'm going to cut this off and I'm going to put in, let's say, A. I'm going to work with A. Okay. So as I'm going to be working with A, obviously I don't want red. I want something around blue. Select on that and change up the size. Let's say somewhere around 150. Let's just increase up the size and let's check it if it is working. Okay, this is too much. So I'm going to do is going to keep it somewhere around 72. That's also totally perfect. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting on that.
There we go. Reduce up the size just a bit, because obviously we don't need that big of a text. Or we can also increase up the size. There we go. Now right click on this, and we're obviously going to be rasterizing the type so that we can also just use this. And you can also do something else like removing it before removing or rasterizing the whole thing, is that you can remove out this specific part. Now how will you be able to remove that? First off, you're going to need this polygonal lasso tool. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this area. There we go. Select up the corner. There we go. And then you can just press on delete, or you can just click on this erase and then erase up the part. It's not going to be outside, so you can just see that that is how easy it is. Now I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this tool and press on deselect. Okay. This is the A which we need, or this is the exact thing what I need to use. Okay. So as we have this, now I'm going to be making something out of this. Okay. How will I be able to do that? First thing I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this polygonal lasso tool again, and I'm going to do is going to be making this flat. Make sure to hold on a shift so that you also get like a flat surface out of it. There we go. Click on this. Okay, I'm going to do is press on Control Z again. I'm going to press on Control Z. I'm going to do is going to be, let's say I'm going to keep it a bit closer to over here. There we go. This is exactly what I need. Just select up this area, click on this erase tool, and remove out that part. Now I'm obviously going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this flat. So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this. First off, deselect. Select up this, Control Z. Deselect. Press on this erase tool. There we go. Delete it. Deselect. And this is exactly what we need. Now from here, what we have to do is select on this one. I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this one. Right click. You can also make a bit of outline if you want to make it a bit more thicker. But I'm going to keep it like this for a while. Or maybe let's just change it. Okay, I'm going to click on this effects over here and go off the stroke. And over here, I'm going to do is going to be increasing the size of this and select on, let's say, the color of this. Obviously, you don't want like gradients. So I'm going to do is going to be turning this off. Let's say blend mode should be normal. And this is basically gradient. So I'm going to do is going to be turning this reverse if you want to. But if you don't want gradient, you can just turn on this stroke over here. Overprint. Outside. And I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this. And I'm going to do is type in solid. Okay. Now over here on solid, I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this color. I want basically a new color over here. Let's say I'm going to do is going to be pressing on new. Select up this area. Press on OK. I want all of them to be on this side. There we go. All blue. And you can fix up the size just a bit. There we go. And obviously, if you don't want like this cornered ones, obviously you'll be able to change it anytime you want to. But this is exactly what I want, so I'm going to press on OK. And if you want like corners only, you can also fix that up later on. Now, what I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this pen tool. Right click on this. First off, click on this pen tool. And I'm going to start off from this corner over here. Select on this. And I'm going to do is going to be, let's say I'm going to press on Control Z again. There we go. Right click on this and click on curvature. Something like this. Right click. First off, turn it like this. And then what we can do is select up on this part and there we go. Perfect. And now what we can do is that just select up this part, connect it up, Control Z, right click, pencil. That's it. Right click on this and convert point tool. There we go. And select up the part. So let's say blue. There we go. This is how it will look like. Select on this again. What I'm going to do is going to be zooming in to fix out that part. And what we're going to do is going to be fixing out the stroke. Okay. There we go. We also have a circle over here. This will also look good if you have it. I'm going to go off to effects over here, or maybe just select on this part over here. And then what we basically have to do is just click on this pencil, click on strokes, and then keep it 0. In that case, now you can see we have 0 strokes, and this is how it will look like. And what we're going to do is going to be clicking on this shape. You can keep this if you want to. I'm going to press on Control Z. We have shape 2 over here. Delete it anytime. Delete. We just need shape 1. And on shape 1, go off to effects, then go off to, let's say, I'm going to go off to stroke. And in this one, I'm going to be using not gradients. I'm going to use color and put in white. And this is how it will look like. You can fix in the opacity and you can fix in the size however you want. So let's say I want something like this. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is going to be pressing on OK. And then I'm going to do is going to be removing this. And then select on this erase. And first off, you're going to do is going to be rasterizing this layer. Okay, so I'm going to rasterize this layer. This is how it's going to be looking like. You can press on Control Z to unrasterize it too. It's basically up to you how you want to work with it. But obviously, I would suggest you just remove out that part or remove out the stroke of this, line. Make sure to keep this layer rasterized. Now, what we're going to do is just select on this one. First off, let's just back it up again. Right click on this magic eraser tool. Select up this white part. Unlock this. There we go. We have removed of the parts, but now this is how it's looking like. But we need this part to be also removed when we are working with it. Okay, so make sure to select up and to remove out the parts. Okay, first off, select on both of these and then rasterize them together. Right click, convert to smart object. You can do that if you want to. Convert to smart object if you want to. Let's go. There we go. This is how it will look like. Right click on this and obviously rasterize the layer. And then remove out the white parts. There we go. This is how it will look like. Now you can go back, turn it on. You can see this is how it looks like, okay? So what we're going to do over here now is that we're going to customize it with filters. So first thing is that if I want gradient overlay, this is how it will look like. So you can turn it gradient to if you want to, but you can also turn it off. So the first thing what we need to do on this thing is that we need a bit of color overlay. Okay, but we can also apply a bit of, let's say, shadow. So let's just start applying a bit of gradient overlay first. So over here, I'm going to do is going to be using blues this time, blues and a bit of purples. So I'm going to do is select somewhere around this one. There we go. This one looks quite good. And over here, I'm going to do is going to be using linear or angle, something like this. You can also change it, let's say reflected. We can use radial, okay? There we go. And if you want to customize it, you can scale it up, fix it up however you want to. And you can also deter if you want to, okay? What I'm going to do is going to be using color burn, or maybe let's just keep it normal, okay? And then let's go off to the shadow, which is going to be outer or drop shadow. This is how it looks like. So if I go off the drop shadow, we're going to be using normal, something like this. Fix in the distance, fix in the spread, fix in the size. There we go. This is how it will look like. Normal. Reduce the amount of noise, and the contour should be somewhere around over here. Anti-aliased. Fix in the direction. Fix in the color. Let's say I'm going to want something around this one, or maybe something blue, or something like this. Press on OK. There we go. And we're going to fix in the opacity. Looks quite good. Press on OK, and you can also apply a bit of contour if you want to, but we don't want that, so I'm going to do is turn it off. Let's just see if there's texture will make it look good. So let's just go off to inner shadow just a bit. Opacity, reduce it just a bit. A bit of noise. Let's say pattern overlay, you can turn it on if you want to. Outer glow. Fixing the opacity. Fixing the spread. Increase the noise just a bit. And you have to fix in the size of this. There we go. A lot better. You can also apply fixing the range too. And after you're done, just press on OK, and there you go. And if you want to customize your background, you can also go over here. Let's say maybe I want a bit of gradient color over here. Maybe I want purples. You can turn it on if you want to, something like this. But if you don't want to, you can also obviously just press on Ctrl Z. You can go off maybe something like a solid color or a pattern. There we go. Press on OK, and this is how our logo will look like. Okay, so now you know how you'll be able to make a letter logo in Adobe Photoshop. So hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. Welcome to another class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a quick blend logo design. Now, you might think that what is a quick blend logo design? Now, the quick blend logo design is going to represent a manipulative or photo manipulation type of logo design. And confusing for those who are new to it, and I was also confused to it like at the beginning. But if you check out the whole video step by step and not skip any part, then you will understand it, and I will try to help you through it on the whole process, okay? And I will try to describe it as easiest as I can. So make sure not to skip any part, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see that I have already opened up Adobe Photoshop. Now, one of the mistakes, or the first mistake what people do when they are doing this manipulative type of logo design or whatever design they are doing, is that
they open up a new file and then work with the background. Now, I would suggest you when you are working on something like this, do not do this, okay? Directly open up the photo and work with it accordingly to however you want. So the first thing what you basically have to do is, let's say I'm going to go off to my web browser and you're going to search in for pixels.com. And you can search in for, let's say, chili, okay? So I'm going to search in for chili, and there we go. We have a couple of these images, which I'll be able to use. Now, try using something which has the background to be the same. So something like this, maybe something like this, which I've seen already. Let's download this one. Gonna wait for a while until this has been downloaded. And if you've already seen my previous classes, you already know that this website is totally royalty free, so you don't have to worry about those copyrights and stuff. And there we go. This is also already downloaded. You can also try downloading this one. And I will attach all of these files or all of these resources with my resource file. You'll be able to download them anytime you want. And in this class, I'm going to be showing you two examples so that you don't forget about it and so that you can get to know like descriptive about it, okay, on how you can do this. So first thing, what you're basically gonna do is that after downloading up the resources, just open up Adobe Photoshop. Now click on open and then select both of these. I'm gonna work on both of these and show you how it works. And this is how it will look like. One photo, two photo. So first thing, what you're gonna do is we're gonna start off with this one, okay? I'm gonna do is zoom in because I'm not gonna be using this whole lot of the photo. So first thing what you have to do is I'm going to do is remove the background just by using the AI option of Adobe Photoshop. And I'm going to press on Control Z. Let's just start off with our text. Then you're going to do over here is click on this text option and I'm going to apply my text. Let's say maybe I'm going to put in chili. I'm going to put in all of them capitals. So I'm going to put in chili. There we go. This is how it will look like. Now you can also turn off Google Chrome if you want to, but if you want another site to get your graphics, you can obviously go off to freepik.com and it will also give you a couple of those graphics which you'll be able to use. So I'm going to do is put in chili and let's search for more if there are any. If there are better ones, you can also try using or try working with it. It's totally fine. Okay, this one also looks really good. This one also looks really good. You'll be able to work with them with ease, actually. You can try this one too, and try using the free ones because the free ones are going to be kind of royalty free, but the other ones you have to get your subscription and then work on with it. So let's download this one. This one is also a bit better than that one. So I'm going to click on this medium option over here so that this gives me off a really good size. There we go. It has opened up. Now, instead of this photo, let's just try using that photo. It's going to be easier because that's not going to contain. Cut this. Okay, cut this off. No. Click on File, click on Open. Let's just try using this. There we go. Now, here, we're going to do the same thing. Text layer over here. Control Z. Apply it yourself. I'm going to put in chili. There we go. We have our text or our text box. And then you're going to click on OK. Select on this. Take it and adjust it first. So I'm going to do is going to be putting this somewhere around over here. And you don't have to worry about it because we are going to apply a bit of warp to it. So let's say I'm going to do is going to be keeping this somewhere like this. There we go. Select on this. And you're going to do is going to be right clicking on this and then convert it into a shape. There we go. Convert to shape. This is how it will look like. And then right click on this, or first off, adjust it up first. Right click, and then you will have this warp option. Now the warp option you're going to do is going to be customizing this, fixing this up. There we go. This is what I need. CH. Up. Adjusting this. There we go. I'm fixing this part up too. Corner. There we go. There we go. Fix this up. So when you basically have something like this is how it's going to look like. There we go. Almost perfect. Okay, it's totally fine. Now, after you're done, just press on this. And then you're going to do is going to be selecting on this, press on Alt, or hold on to Alt, and you can see this is how it will look like. Okay? Just click on the background and click on this just by holding on Control. I'm going to tell it to you again. When it is done, I'm going to deselect it. Okay? So first off, select this first. And then click on background and hold on to Control and select on this. And this is how it will be selected. Then what you're going to do is just click on this mask button, layer mask, and this is how it will look. When you turn this off, you'll basically see this is how it's going to be looking like, okay? The text is basically going to be turning into the photo. So this is how simple it is. And obviously I'm going to show you another example so you don't have to worry about it. And then what you're going to do is create another layer, keep this at the bottom, and then click on this brush tool, select on this, and then make sure to turn this on. Okay? You can also try on this brush again, the pencil tool. First off, fill it up with color. We have to fill it up with color first. Now, first off, click on this one, right click, paint bucket tool, and color the whole thing. Select on this first, color the whole thing, not red, but white. There we go. And then click on this brush tool, select on this layer, and then you can add up the color if you want to. But if it's still not something like that, you can also turn it off. You can go off the pencil tool. Obviously, this is how this history brush tool, hard brush tool. Make sure to select on that and then get it back. Okay. Just click on this brush tool. Now just select on this brush tool, which you have over here. After selecting the brush, just click on this layer and then just brush it. And always make sure to click on Add to Mask instead of Subtract from Mask. Because if you click on Subtract from Mask, you'll basically see that you'll be able to remove this. Okay? So always click on Add to Mask and always make sure to select up your brush again. And then what you're going to do is going to be starting off from this part, Control Z again, Add to Mask. And then this is how it's going to look like. Then brush on the part, which you actually want to make it or turn it back. There we go. Make sure to reduce up the spread too so that it doesn't get too much or doesn't get too overwhelming. There we go. This is how the whole thing is going to look like. Okay. And if you see any part that is just, adding up, then what you can do is just reduce up the size first. There we go. The tint of this has been removed. Let's go up to this part. And there we go. We can remove out from this part too. Okay. So this is how you'll be able to make this quick blend type of logo. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay. Now over here, we're going to do the same thing, but this is going to be just for practice. Okay. First off, we're going to start off with the text. Right click on this, horizontal type tool, horizontal, or let's say vertical type tool. We're going to apply this text over here, and we're going to put in red. Okay, just red, nothing else. Right click on this and then convert it into a shape. Zoom in, click on this, adjust it up, rotate it a bit. There we go. This is how it's going to be working like. And then right click on this and then click on warp. After you click on warp, adjust it up. There we go. Now zoom in a bit more. There we go. And after we're done, what we're going to do is going to be selecting on this, press on Control, select up the part, and then click on Mask. This is how it's going to look like. And then you're going to remove this. There we go. It is done. And then the last thing is just apply another layer. Take this at the bottom, fill it up with color, paint bucket tool, select up like this. Make sure to select up white. If you have a different color, this is how it's going to work like, okay? So make sure to select on white, press on OK, and put in white. There we go. After you put in white, just select on this brush tool, just the brush tool, not tool, and select on this, add to mask, increase the size. There we go. It has been created. You'll be able to create like this. And obviously you'll be able to see the whole thing. There we go. This is how it's going to work. You can obviously apply more like this. And obviously you can just select the photo, remove background, press on OK, and then wait for a bit until the whole background has been removed. And there we go. We have our chili. And over here, you can apply in this one. There we go. If it's still not working like that, just make sure that this red part is available. Select on this, remove this again, remove this one too, layer 1, just select up this part. There we go. Mask it up. Fine. There we go. Apply another layer, take it at the bottom, click on this bucket, make it white, click on this brush tool, select up this masked part, add to mask, and just mask it up. This is how easy it is. There we go. Okay. So now you know how you'll be able to make a manipulative or a quick blend type of logo in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so make sure to practice it up on your own. And if you have newer ideas, you can also try applying that. Because if you hesitate on applying your own ideas, what will happen is that you are not going to get more comfortable with the workspace. Okay, so just fiddle through these, options, fiddle through these processes, how you can do that. And this is very simple to do. Okay, so hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. Welcome back to another class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a typography type of logo design in Adobe Photoshop just by using its tools and interface. Now, if you've seen my previous classes where I've shown you about how you can make a letter design and also quick mask, okay? So if you've seen those lessons, you already know a bit about how you can use those tools to make those logo designs in Adobe Photoshop. So we're also going to be using kind of a lot of those same methods. So make sure not to skip any part because there's obviously going to be something new on each and every class. So not to skip any part, like just make sure not to skip any part because if you do, you might fall into a hassle later on. Okay. So without any further ado, let's move on to our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see that I have opened up Adobe Photoshop on my device. Now, what I basically have to do is click on new file. Obviously, we're going to need a new file to work with. And this is how it's going to be looking like. Okay. So from here, I'm going to be clicking on custom and I'm going to go off to the background content and I'm going to turn it, let's say, I'm going to keep it black. Okay. Press on OK and obviously keep it 16 bits and you can try keeping the resolution 600 if you want higher resolution. But if you want like a very decent amount, you can try using like 300. It's basically up to you, whichever one you prefer. After you are done, just click on this create and then wait until the interface shows up. Now from here, make sure to keep the background like this. And now I'm going to do is going to be starting with our text. So right click on this horizontal type text tool. There we go. Remove it. And then I'm going to do is going to be putting in my own text. Let's say Illustrator. Okay. Make sure to keep it white. And select on this and just try to increase up the size. Okay. You can also open up this whole character window. So you have to go off the windows over here, click on character, and there we go. We have our character options. So from our character options, we're going to increase up the size. There we go. And let's just change it to something else. Okay. Let's find out which font will actually look good with this whole thing. You can also try using Montserrat if you want to. That one is also really good. So let's just try searching for it if it's not available. Okay, this is available. So I'm going to do is going to be opening or expanding this up if more of them are available. This is thin, black italic, thin italic, okay, extra thin italic. You can try whichever one you prefer. There we go. We have extra bold italic. Select on this, increase up the size. There we go. Click on this move tool and I'm going to keep it just like this. Okay. Make sure to keep it at the center. Do is going to be reducing up. You can reduce up the size if you want to, but if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Right click on this. And instead of rasterizing this layer, what you're going to do is convert it into a smart object. Click on convert to smart object and this is how it will look. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to do is going to be reducing up the size just a bit, keeping this at the center. If it's still not at the center, just make sure to arrange it. You can obviously go off to Windows. And over here on Windows, what you're going to do is going to be fixing up the adjustment part. So there we go. We have like adjustment over here. Make sure to turn on those adjustment layer if you want to. Okay. And you can see this is not available over here because it is already opened up. So you can obviously open them up and keep it wherever you want to. Okay. So there we go. We have it. Now I'm going to keep it at the center. And now what I'm going to do is going to be keeping this perfectly at the center and you're going to do is going to be making copies. So if you want to make copies, first off, what you have to do is right click and make a couple of copies and select on the layer, press on Ctrl J to make another copy. Take this at the bottom, just at the bottom, right click on this. And then you're going to do is going to be naming this. So I'm going to name it stroke down. There we go, stroke down, and double click on this. Press on Ctrl Z. You can go back if you want to. Right click on this and then go off to effects, or click on this effect over here. Go off to stroke, and this type of option will appear up. And from here, what you're going to do is going to be reducing up the size. And obviously you have to like turn off the text, okay? So if you have to turn off or remove up the color of this text, what you basically have to do is make sure that it is still on, text. So I'm going to do is going to be keeping this as a text format. So I'm going to press on Ctrl Z, and then I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this and then make a copy, Ctrl J. Keep this at the bottom. Go off to effects. Go off to blending option. There we go. And go off to stroke and apply stroke there. But first thing what you have to do over here is make sure to option. Try to keep it without color. Just fill in with color. Okay, so I'm going to do is going to be reducing up the color. There we go. We have it black. Press on OK. And then what you're going to do is going to be selecting up this part. And then right click. Go off the filters. Go off the stroke. And then you're going to do is going to be applying up that stroke. Okay. So I'm going to click on the stroke and I'm going to put in 5. There we go. Totally perfect. And keep the opacity 100. Keep the color white. Press on OK. Make sure it is positioned outside. You can also keep it at the center if you want to. Press on OK. And press on Ctrl J again to make another copy. I'm going to keep it at the top. There we go. And what you're going to do is going to be clicking on this. I'm going to name it Stroke Up. I'm going to keep this Stroke Down. Okay. So we have stroke up and down, and then we have our text. So first thing what we're going to do over here is select up both of them, Control G. Now this is grouped up, and take this at the bottom. So now as this is at the bottom, what you basically have to do is select on this part, and then you have to make a layer mask. So click on that. As we have our layer mask, select on this part, press on OK. Make sure to keep it at the bottom, and then click on this brush tool and click on Subtract from Mask. Make sure this is black in color and the opacity 100. And then what you basically have to do is remove out these areas. There we go. This is how it's going to be looking like. Make sure to work on it really proper. There we go. This is how it's going to be looking like. Now, what you basically have to do is click on this again and then make another copy. There we go. We have another one. Or instead of doing that, what you basically, I would prefer, like suggest you doing is that open this up and we have our stroke up, right? So over here on our stroke up, what you're basically going to do is make another copy. Stroke up copy, take this at the top or select on this. Press on OK. Stroke up copy. Control Z. Control J. There we go. We have this over here. I'm going to keep this a bit over here. And then you're going to make another copy, Control J. There we go. Copy 2. Select up both of them. There we go. We have another copy of this. Keep this right over here, just the way it is. You're going to keep it aligned to it so that it looks better. Stroke up, select on this part. Make sure to align it properly. and select up on another copy of this. There we go. Keep this a bit to the right, aligned perfectly. And then select up all of them, or let's say select up both of these, copy, and make another group. And the next group, make another like layer mask, select up that, click on subtract from mask, and then obviously keep this black. What I'm gonna do is going to be reducing up these parts too. There we go. This is how it's going to be looking like. There we go. This is how it's going to be working, and this is how this will look. And then select up both of them. Let's collapse them. And then select up together. There we go. We have all of them together. And now just group all of them together. Go off to filters and then go off to, let's say, outer glow. So click on that outer glow, or you can go off to strokes again to apply up the color if you want to. So basically you can go off to, let's say I'm going to go off the stroke. There we go. Go off the stroke over here. Select up to 0 if you want to. This is how it looks like. I'm going to press on cancel. So I'm just going to do is going to be right clicking on this, and I'm going to keep it orange. There we go. Go off to effects or filters like this. Go off to outer glow. The size. And make sure to keep it outside. So the glow is outside instead of putting some effect like this. Reduce up the spreads. There we go. Technique should be softer. There we go. Keep this white if you can, or you can also change up the color anytime you want to. Now over here, fix in the jitter, fix in the range. The contour should be somewhere around over here. And also apply color overlay if you want to. You can also turn this off and check this out if this looks better or not. You can see this is how it looks like. And also apply an inner glow if you want to. You also have inner shadow. We're obviously going to be applying that, but just make sure to apply this outer glow first. Click on this. Keep it linear. Let's say I'm going to keep it smooth. And then I'm going to go off over here, select up pinks. And select up the color, whichever one you prefer. Blend mode should be dissolved if you can, or you can also keep it color dodge if you want to. But I'm going to keep it normal so that we can see the whole thing. Fix in the size. Just keep it around like 1, 2. Okay. 4 is perfect. Reduce up the spreads. Fix in the range. Keep it anti-aliased. And keep the noise a bit higher. And the opacity should be a lot higher. Okay. Or you can keep it somewhere around over here. It will also make it look really good. Then you can also apply in different strokes if you want to. We also have inner glow. You can turn that off anytime you want to. And also go off to satin. Press on OK, and then you're good to go. Now over here, what you basically can do is right click on this, and you can go off customizing the whole thing. Select on this again and click on this over here. You can go off to colors over here, color overlay, and you'll be able to change up the color anytime you want. If you don't see this, or if you cannot do it either, what you can do is just select up this area or select up this one. And then you're going to do is going to be going off the style, and you can fix up whichever style you want to use. You can also apply these options, which we've already applied, and like up the color how it is. If you want like only the outer glow, like nothing inside and just the stroke changing, you can also do that. That's totally fine. You can just press on Ctrl Z, keep this however it is, go off to effects and go off to gradient overlay, and you'll be able to change it like this. Okay. So from here, what you can do is select up the reverse, turn it off, close off this one, fixing the opacity, click on the gradient if you want to. There we go. And then change up the color. Okay. So I'm going to select up this one, fixing the scale, can fix that up, align with layer. You can also change up however it is. There we go. We have linear burn. We have overlay. There we go. You can obviously apply this linear burn over here or linear dodge. This is how it will look like. There's like a lot of these options over here. There we go. You can press on OK anytime you want. You can fix in the scales. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting on screen. Let's check out different ones. Lighter color, multiply. There we go. We have only the strokes. You can also apply and darken. Okay, this looks a lot more better. And on the method, make sure to click on this linear option over here so that it's going to be a lot more better. Okay, press on OK and then you're good to go. Now, if you want to change up the color of this one too, just right click, then go off to effects, click on this, let's say color overlay or go to gradient, change up the color if I want to. Whichever color you prefer. Let's say maybe I want purples this time. Maybe this time I want, let's say blues. There we go. You can change up the color anytime you want. You can also go off to color overlays, turn it on, and then apply whichever color you prefer. Say maybe I want this. Okay. So change it up however you want to. If you don't want it, you can keep this just like this. Okay. It will also look very good and very professional. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end and hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. Welcome to another class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a logo design just by using shapes in Adobe Photoshop. If you've seen my previous lessons, I've shown you most of the things about text, typography, and those. I've also shown you some video, and I've also shown you a quick manipulative type of logo design just by using Adobe Photoshop. And in those classes, I've shown you how you'll be able to use the tools to make that logo design. So just by using those steps, I'm going to be showing you how you can make the logo design just by using shapes in Adobe Photoshop. Now, when you think about shapes and making a logo, you might think that it might not be able to be done in Adobe Photoshop, but it can be totally done, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to show you each and every step of how you'll be able to do it and so that you can get your outcome and accomplish it. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Adobe Photoshop on my device. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that in this class, make sure not to skip any part, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important and then fall onto a hassle later on. So the first thing, basically what you have to do is that you need a specific color palette. Now, to get my color palette, I'm going to open up my web browser and then I'm going to search for the color palette. So first things first is open up any web browser which you have on your device. It could either be Mozilla Firefox, it could either be Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome, whichever one you prefer. Then go off to coolers.co. Now, after you go off to coolers.co, what you're basically going to do is take one of the palette and use it directly on Adobe Photoshop. You can also download up like a certain photo to work with it. So just make sure to reload it. If it doesn't load up, what you can basically do is go off to other sites. Let's say I'm going to go off to color palettes. There we go. And there we go. We have colorhunt.co. You can also go off to colorhunt.co. So from here, basically, we're going to search up for something like this. Okay. So right click on this. You can save the link. But if you want to use the whole thing, you can also do that. Let's say I'm going to save it up as an image and work with it. So click on image, download it, and there we go. We have saved it up. Now, basically what you can do is click on open. We're going to open up this whole palette and we're going to be working with it. First off, turn into a normal layer and then go off the file, click on new. And I'm going to be using another artboard or another workspace. So I'm going to do is going to be keeping it 16-bit. 600, press on create, and there we go. If you don't want it black, obviously you'll be able to change it from here too. you just basically have to do is just customize it. Double click on it. Basically, we have color. What you're gonna do is basically gonna change it. So you can see the canvas is like this. You can obviously change it to white, press on OK, and this is basically gonna turn into white. Now you can lock it and unlock it at the same time. Let's just take it to our panel over here. There we go. I'm gonna keep it right over here so that we can use it. As you can see, this is not usable. So I'm going to do is going to be taking this directly over here. If it's still not usable, what you're basically going to do is make another layer. Let's try making another layer. And in that layer, let's try applying it. If it's still not working, it's totally fine. There we go. We have this layer over here. We're going to lock up this one. It's still not visible. So let's just keep it like this. And now let's just keep on working on our second page. So first things first is let's just remove this, delete. There we go. And now what I'm going to be doing is let's just not keep it white. There we go. We have white. Press on delete. We need our background. You can also change it to be 32-bit if you want to, but I'm going to keep it 16-bit. Now from here, I'm going to create myself up a shape. Let's say maybe I want a circle. So go off to the shape section like this one, right click on this, and I'm going to click on ellipse tool, hold on a shift, and I'm going to make a perfect circle so that I can work with it. There we go. I'm going to keep it at the center or keep it at the bottom. There we go. And now after you have your shape, basically what you have to do is customize it the way you want to. So now what I'm going to do is going to be keeping this or using my pen tool. Okay. So when you go after the pen tool, make sure to select this up. Select this instead of shape to path. And over here on path, make sure to also use these path operation. Now on the path operation, make sure to use combine shape. So click on combine shape and then customize it the way you want to. Let's say over here, I'm going to do is going to be keeping this somewhere. There we go. There we go. This is how I want it to be. Perfect. And now you're going to do is going to be fixing this up. There we go. We have this design over here. Now, as we have that, we're going to do is going to be making more. Let's just create more over here. There we go. It is done. Control Z. Control Z. Let's just take this. There we go. Select on this. Control Z again. Right click on this. Freeform. Right click. Curvature pencil. There we go. So we have two of these segments right now. Now, as I have two of these segments, we're going to create ourselves up, let's say, a mask. So first things first is that we're going to apply gradient overlay. So as we've done applied this, now obviously you might see that it might not be just the way you want it to be. Okay, so make sure to keep that thing in mind. Select up both of these, right click, and then what you're going to do is going to be clicking on this layer, group, select on the path, click on this pen tool, and instead of path, just turn it into a shape. And if you still don't see the shape, what you're going to do is going to be pressing on Control Z, select on shape, and you have to combine both of them together, okay? So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on subtract from shape, or let's just try whichever one you prefer. Extrude. There we go. We have a color now. We can also try turning it white. As you can see, we have that black. Combine the shapes. And basically what we're going to do is going to be clicking on this over here. Double click on this, go off to effects, then go off to blending option. Now, instead of that, what you're going to basically do is go off to color overlay. And instead of that, just turn it into white. Okay. There we go. This is how it will look like. And what you're going to basically do is convert both of them into, let's say, a layer. Okay. So first things first is that turn off the background. And now you can see this is how it looks like, right? So instead of that, what you're going to basically do is select on both of them. Control G to group them up. Now here, go off to the eraser tool, which you have over here, and click on Magic Eraser. And you can see this is how it looks like. Right click on this and convert it into a smart object. And now click on the part which you want to remove. White, white, there we go. Now this is basically how it's going to look like. Turn it on. There we go. We have our design. Now, as that part has been removed, you can see that is basically a background now, which is transparent. So I'm going to right click on this or go off to filters. And now over here, we're going to do is going to be applying a gradient overlay. So in our gradient overlay, we're going to do is going to be fixing it up. Let's say instead of darken, let's just put in normal. Now, when I put in normal, this is how it's going to be looking like. You're going to fix the way you want. Press on it. If it doesn't look good, just make sure to change it up however you prefer. Instead of radial, you can try linear. And there we go. This is how good it looks. If you try, or if you want to put in something better, maybe like let's try color burn, linear dodge. Okay, this one is a lot more better. Reverse, align with layer, turn this on too, and keep this on. So you can scale it up if you want to. Press on OK after you are done. And after you are done, we're going to making more shapes to apply more effect to it. First thing you're going to do is apply another layer and try to keep this at the bottom of this group one. And here, what we're going to do is going to be clicking on this pen tool, and we're obviously going to be applying more shapes. There we go. Here, what I'm going to do is going to be fixing this up just a bit. Zoom in a bit more to fix it up. There we go. And here, what you're going to do is going to be turning the color a bit different. So first things first is that click on shape. There we go. This has turned into a shape. Now, instead of the black, we're obviously going to turn it the way I want it to be. So first off, right click on it and then rasterize the layer and then go off to effects, go off to blending option. And instead of blending option, just first off, go off to gradient overlay. Just turn on gradient overlay, and this is how it will look like. But you're going to do is going to be multiplying it or fixing it up. Let's say maybe darken color or linear dodge, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to do is going to putting in normal. and fill the opacity with something different. Blend interior, vector mask. Gonna do is gonna be fixing up the white parts. Smoothen it out if you can. Press on OK. I'm gonna do is going to be combining both of them. Just combine them together. And if you want a bit more better, you can also customize it the way you want to. It's basically up to you how you want to work with it. And you can obviously apply more and more shapes every time you are creating new shapes. So I'm going to click on another layer, keep this below too. I'm going to apply another layer so that I can apply two more on these. So first things first, I'm going to click on this pen tool, select up the parts. There we go. And then I'm going to do is going to be turning it into a shape. We're going to apply the same thing over here. Let's just say I'm going to take this at the top this time, or maybe not. There we go. So all of these I'm going to do is going to be customizing them. Right click, rasterize each and every one of them. Rasterize. We have to rasterize each and every one of them so that we can apply up those effects. This is the first shape. The second shape should be this one. Right click. There we go. We have two of them or three of them directly on this. So right click on this as we have them rasterized. So we're going to delete this part up and click on them. Right click on filter or effects. Go off the gradients overlay. You can see this one is how it looks. Go off the effects, gradients overlay. Customize it the way you want to. Fixing the scale. This is how it will look like. Press on OK. And select on this part, right click. And then if you have like strokes on it, just right click on effects, go off to stroke. Instead of that stroke, what you're going to do is going to be reducing up the stroke. And instead of color, just go off apply gradients. There we go. And then go off to blues. And so I'm going to select on this, go off to blues. Open that up. There we go. We have different colors to apply. So just apply up the color, whichever looks good. Press on OK. Fix in the scale, opacity. Can fix in the stroke size too. It's basically up to you. Position outside, position inside. There we go. And go off the blending option. Fix in the opacity. Fill opacity. Perfect. Blend it. Layer mask hide, vector mask hide. Fix it up just a bit. You can see this is how it is fixing up. There we go. You can also adjust it up just the way you want to. So I'm going to do is going to be keeping it just the way it is. Okay. Turn off stroke. You can go off the blending option, fix it up. So as we have our design, we're going to do is going to be selecting on each and every one of them and group them up all together. So as this is grouped up, I'm going to go off here on my hand tool. And now the last thing what we have to apply is going to be our, let's say, the part which is going to be at the top. Now you can see there are these parts which are going to look something like this. So you can also adjust it up and fix them how it looks like. So right click on this. What I'm gonna do is going to be fixing this up, size, fix this up. Layer, right click, hardness should be 0, Control Z. And over here, instead of that, just select up the parts. Now, instead of this brush, what we're going to do is going to be fixing in the spacing, reducing it up, brush pose, noise. You can fix this up just the way you want. So you can fix up the transfer too. You can press on Z, Control Z to undo the whole process. And obviously you'll be able to, fix it up. Let's go off the edits, redo, and you can obviously go off to this brush over here, eraser tool. Fix in the spacing, fix in the size. There we go. Let's fix all of these up. Only fix these up. Instead of that, do not remove any part. There we go. You can also customize it up whenever you want to. Let's just zoom in. Let's do the last one over here. Okay, so we're almost done on the whole thing. So this is basically how it will look like, okay? Now the last thing we're going to do is that as we have all the shapes, let's group them up together again. Control G. And I'm going to hide this up. And we're going to do is going to be applying or making another part. Let's say maybe over here, I want something like a leaf. So I'm going to go off over here, click on this pen tool, another layer. What I'm going to do is going to be fixing this up. There we go. Perfect. Click on shape and obviously change up the color anytime you want to. What we're going to do is going to be applying another one. Okay, let's just undo the process again. There we go. Customize it up just a bit. There we go. We fixed it up. we have the leaf. Now I'm going to do is going to be selecting up this part. Right click, and you have to like apply another cut over here. First off, rasterize the layer. Right click, layer via cut. There we go. We have this individual now. This one is individual. Right click on this. First off, apply the color. Let's say I'm going to apply a gradient overlay over here. Now, instead of this color, we're obviously going to be selecting something else, maybe something related to orange. Looks good. And on this one, I'm also going to be applying, let's say something of a gradient overlay. And this time I'm going to be selecting greens, okay? Couple of these colors over here. There we go. Select up whichever looks good for you. Press on OK, and then we're good to go. Select up the whole thing, Control G, and there we go. Our logo with a shape is done. Now, just fiddle through this whole workspace, try it on your own, and I've shown you almost everything you need to know about how you can use these options or use these tools and commands to make up a shape like this or make up a logo like this. You just have to fiddle through it, make yourself more comfortable so that you can make yourself more professional and, better types of logos in Adobe Photoshop. So thank you for watching this video again and hope you understood about everything. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing. Welcome to our first class of logo designing with Adobe Illustrator. In my previous classes, I've shown you how you can make logo designs just by using Adobe Photoshop. So in this class, I'm going to start off with Adobe Illustrator. And the first logo design which we are going to make is going to be very minimalistic logo designing. Well, in my last class, I've shown you about the introduction to Adobe Illustrator. If you haven't checked it out yet, or if you skipped a couple of parts, I would suggest you go check it out again because there's going to be a couple of ideas which I've given there and also an overview about its interface. But if you have some experience or very less experience in Adobe Illustrator, then you can totally go along with this whole course. And I'm also going to be showing you every step in a very descriptive way so you don't have to worry about it. So without any further ado, let's move on with our class by opening up Adobe Illustrator on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Adobe Illustrator. One thing you have to keep in mind is that try using the newest version of Adobe Illustrator or any software which you have, okay? Because when you have the newest version always on or always used, what happens is that you get almost all the bug fixes and the newest feature which you have in these type of software. And this type of software basically gets updates like very frequently. So try using that because, you just get new features and stuff. So first thing, what we're going to do is going to be opening up a new file. So to open up a new file, first we have to do is click on new file and then select up whichever preset you want to use. Okay. So there we go. Now from here, what I'm going to do is going to be selecting any one of these and then click on create. Now select up the raster effect. It could be medium, it could be high. You can also customize the width and height, and you can also fix up whichever orientation, whichever one you want. Okay. So now press on create. And after you press on create, just wait for a bit until the interface shows up on your screen. So after the interface shows up on your screen, what you're basically going to do is going to be start working on it. Now, to make our logo, as it's going to be very minimalistic, so I'm going to start off with a shape. And I'm going to select on ellipse tool, and I'm going to select or make myself this. There we go. Select up the circle and make sure that this is okay. Make sure to not put it on, let's say something like, click on that, click on this. There we go. Nothing. Just make sure to keep the stroke one. Okay, it's up to you. So here I'm going to do is going to be making a copy. Right click on this, copy. Off to edits. You can see this option over here, which you will find over here called paste in front. In front, and I'm going to do is going to be selecting it up, Control Z. Hold on the shift, raise it up to like 190. There we go. I'm going to keep it at the center. There we go. We have it at the center, and what you're going to do is going to be going off to object. You just basically have to expand it. Okay. But what you can do is make couple more of these. So if you want to make couple more of these, what you basically have to do is, so you can go off to this blending option or this blending tool over here, which you will find out this over here. These type of other options, you can see this over here, right click, and you can see the blending options. So instead of that, I'm going to click on specified steps. You can click 1, 2, 3, whichever one you prefer. It's basically up to you, but if you don't want to do that, it's all. First off, select up this layer again. So just select both of them, go to object, and then you will find out this option of pattern. So instead of those path and all of those, what you're going to do is going to be just go to this option over blend and click on make. There we go. We have now, and you're going to do is going to be expanding this up. Okay. So what you're going to be fixing this up just like this, or you can also expand it up just the way you want to, increase the size of the whole thing altogether. A couple of other ones too. Look, so I'm going to do is going to be selecting up this specific path. You can increase it or decrease it anytime you want to. You press on Control Process. And what you're going to do is going to be clicking on this blending tool again. And then you're going to do is going to click on Specified. And you're going to put in like 2 or 3. Click on Approve. Okay, and there we go. We have a couple more of these lines again. Now you're going to do is going to be selecting. And then you're going to do is going to be expanding this. Okay. So that you can make another copy, apply it on the other side. So first thing you're going to do is going to be, and then click on expand and press on. There we go. Now press on Control C and Control V to make another copy of this the way you want it to be. So I'm going to do is going to be zooming in. There we go. Want it. Let's just keep it a bit more on the left and right. Control Z. Okay. 2 of these shapes. Now what I'm going to be doing is going to be applying more shape at the top. First thing you're going to do is going to be making sure that this is also expanded or select on. And then you're going to do is going to go off object. And then you're going to, but first off, we're going to do is going to be adjusting it up just the way like this. Better zoom in to check it out. Okay. So, and now you're going to do is going to be making another shape over here, but expand it up if you want to. If you don't want to, that's also totally fine. You're going to do is going to be them and adjust it up first off. And now I'm going to do is going to be up more. So I'm going to click on this ellipse tool again and make sure another one of these circles. There we go. Select on this and make sure to keep it on the second last circle over here. There we go. And now you're going to make other copies of it. So to make, first thing you're going to do is going to be adjusting it up. Control C and There we go. We have this over. And you're going to do is going to be making more copies of this. So you can also keep it like inside and make it similar. You're going to press on Control Z. There we go. Keep it just the way it is. Also decrease up the size. Both of them. We're going to expand it going off the object. Okay. You're going to make copies of it. Select it up and make sure that it is at the center. Control C and Control F. Take this one on this side too. There we go. You can keep them intersected if you want to. So we have these circles are done. Now you can see how minimalist. So now we're going to do is going to be cutting out some parts. Okay. But first is going to be making ourselves a rectangle tool so that we can make out a like separate part. So click on this again, rectangle tool. And on this part, our starting is going to be creating up this shape. Okay. There we go. Just make sure it is up to, and you can also keep it short if you want to. And then you're going to fill. And now you're going to do is going to be expanding. So basically when you expand up all of them will be together. So you can do, but you can also keep it just the way it is. Okay. So let's say I'm going to do is going to be removing out these parts. Click on layer first. You have to click on, you can see all of them over here. Just select up all of these. Take builder tool and remove up all of them. Okay. Remove whichever one you prefer and whichever one you have to keep them. There we go. We can see this one. We don't need. We're also going to removing out these parts. There we go. Let's just remove this part over here. There we go. And also remove, press on Control Z to undo the process. What you're going to do is going to be removing out this. Removed. Control Z. You can obviously fix that up later on. It's totally fine. Now you're going to do is going to be following the same step, removing out which you like. And see, this is how it will look like. You can also like make copies or, keep it just the way you want it to be. Fine. Select on this one, reduce the stroke. Select up the whole thing again. Click on Filter tool, remove out the parts. Select on white. There we go. Go remove it. If you don't want to remove them, it's also totally fine. Just remove it. This is how it will look like. Removed. And you're going to click on eraser. Select on this eraser over here. Click again. You can fix in the X and Y value. It's also totally fine. Now, as we are up till this point, what we're going to do is going to removing out parts. Now, first off, select on this, press on OK. Now select and click on the Shape Builder tool. Move out those parts because we don't need them anymore. Let's just remove out these parts. Swatch it up. Zoom in and remove out the parts. There we go. Better. There we go. Has been removed. Press onto Alt when you are working. And when you see that it isn't working, there we go. We have there we go. It is almost done. Select on this and also turn them into, let's say, black, all of these. There we go. Press on OK. Perfect. Select up the whole thing again. And then remove out the parts like this. Again, adjust it. There we go. Totally perfect. If it isn't removing, then you can obviously just use this brush tool. Just fix up the size of the brush. There we go. Quite big, so I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this eraser again. Let's just keep it 1. Hit on enter. Only keeping this white. I'm just going to drag it all the way down. Or you can also click on this pen tool, which you already have. Select on this pen tool. Delete action. Just select on this. This is the whole path. And just remove up a couple of parts. Right click on this. Anchor points. Fix it up. If it doesn't work out just the way we've used our shape builder tool, just click on this button over here of the pen tool, click tool, select up the points of this path, which you can see over here. Click on this and just press on delete. And there we go. It has been. So basically this is how easy it is. And now I'm going to do is going to be removing these parts too. Let's say I'm going to do is going to be selecting this and press on delete. Selecting on this, delete. Let's remove out these parts too. There we go. So basically now we have all of them removed and this is how it will look like. Now we're also going to be removing out a couple of, you can see over here. Now select up the whole thing. Keep it as the tab. Select up the whole thing. Click on the shape builder tool again. We're going to removing out this part, this one and this one connected. Just like this. This is how it should look like. Let's press on Ctrl Z to enter the process. If the whole thing gets removed, just do the same thing. Click on this part, select up this area, remove it, delete, delete. There we go. Remove out these areas. Select all of them together again. Go click on the where we have it. And we're obviously going to be connecting these parts, so make sure to keep that in mind. Click on this pen tool on any one of these paths which you have. What you're going to do is going to be clicking on this one. And right click on this. Press on this. Right click on this. Add anchor point and apply or customize it a bit. Okay. And obviously you have this here of curvature pencil. You can customize it the way you want to. Press on Ctrl Z to undo the process. Let's just say I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this part. You can customize it up anytime you want to. And if you don't see that, if it's working, you can you can keep it something like this. And I'm going to do is going to be keeping it just the way it is. Okay. So I'm going to click on this whole thing again, just where it is. Select up the whole area, click on this tool. Let's just remove out these parts. We don't need it. And if you still see that there are parts, just make sure to hold on to Alt. Okay. And here, what I'm going to do is going to be removing out these parts. This is how it will look like. There we go. It up. Click on this pencil, anchor point tool. There we go. So almost our whole thing is done. Now we're going to do is going to be keeping this just the way it is. And we're going to remove this. Just the way it is. I'm going to select up the whole thing again. Select on this tool over here. Remove out this area. Now, after the whole thing has been done, select up the whole thing, go off the object, press on OK, then go off the strokes. You can go off the strokes and apply strokes on this one and recolor it the way you want to. generative color. You can also apply these options over here, sandy stone. You can also apply recolor over here. It's basically up to you. But if you don't want it, it's also totally fine. Select up the whole thing, group them up, Control G. There we go, it is done. Go off the layers, keep it selected. And obviously you'll be able to apply color to this the way you want to, but you can also keep it just, you can make copies of it. And the last thing what I'm going to do is going to be taking one of the photo and applying it over there. So I'm going to open up Google pixels.com. And after I go off to pixels.com, I'm going to search in for deer, hit on enter. Now after I here, what I'm going to do is going to be selecting up any one of these. Click on download, click any one of them. Let's say, and after I download this, and then open on Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. Let's say I'm going to open this up over here. There we go. We have our photo. We'll be reducing of the size. Let's open up another file, new, press on mobile or web. I'm going to just create one of this and take this image over there on the second one. So that I get the best size out of it. There we go. What you can basically do is like reduce up the color and you can apply it. You can mask the image if you want to. You can make it a bit dull. You can right click. You can also like turn it off if you want to. And then when you want to use the logo, we basically just take this, control, make another copy, take it over to the page and paste it as the logo. Okay. This is how it will look like. Zoom out. This is the logo. So this is a very minimalistic photo or minimalistic type of logo, but if you want to make it a bit more professional, you can also do that too. It's totally up to you. But I would suggest you try using or try making one of these. It is also and looks also really good. Okay. So it's also kind of very professional. Whenever you want to change the color, you can do that too. You can apply strokes to it. You can, increase up like to different colors and also the way it looks like anytime you want to. You can apply more like changes to it just by. So hope you understood about everything in this class on how you'll be able to make a minimalistic type of logo design in Adobe Illustrator. If you still have any confusion about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to the class of logo designing with Adobe Illustrator. Welcome back to another class of logo designing with Adobe Illustrator. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a vintage logo design just by using Adobe Illustrator. Now, if you've seen my previous classes, you already know about or you have a bit of idea about how to make the logo design in Adobe Illustrator. If you still don't know, you can just follow me up. I will obviously give you a detailed version or a detailed class about how you can make those designs or logo designs in Adobe Illustrator and how to use the interface. So make sure not to skip any part of this class, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important and later on face some problems. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Illustrator on our device. And if you still don't know where to get the resources from, if you've seen my previous classes of making Adobe or let's say making logo designs with Adobe Photoshop, you already know about it. But obviously I'm going to give you more ideas about it too from where you can get those resources. So without any further ado, let's just hop onto our class. As you can see from my screen that I have already opened up Adobe Illustrator. Now the first thing what we have to do is create ourselves a new preset. So first off, click on new file and find out the one which is going to be actually useful for you or which is going to meet up your criteria. First things first, I'm going to go off the print and I'm going to select on A4. Now, one thing what I'm going to change over here is that most of the time I work on, let's say, portrait mode, which is the orientation. But in this class, I'm going to be using landscape mode because I'm going to need more space and more details. Okay. So click on this orientation, keep it landscape, or what you can basically do is swatch it up if you're on an older version of Adobe Illustrator. But whenever you are working with Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or any type of softwares by Adobe Inc., I would suggest you just get the newest version available and try getting a subscription because it's going to help you to keep the genuine version of the software and not face any issues. Now keep the number of artboards 1 and make sure to keep the raster effect high this time. And obviously we're going to be working with typography, so you can keep it high. It's totally fine, but you can also keep it medium if you want a more smoother and if you have like a lower end device or a medium end device. Okay, so keep it CMYK, make sure to keep that thing in mind and press on create. Wait for a bit until the interface opens up on your screen and then you're going to start working on with it. Now, as I have my screen over here, what you're going to basically do is change the color of the artboard. Now you can do that, but if you don't want to do it right now, you can also do that later on. It's totally fine. Now, what I'm going to be doing is going to be getting a specific color palette for this whole class. So to do that, I'm going to do is going to be going off to any of the web browser which I have and then go off to colorpalettes.com. You can search up for color palettes and you can use colorhunt.co or you can use coolers.co at the same time, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to click on that. And then from here, what I'm going to do is going to be take any one of these palettes and I'm going to use that. So click on image, download it, and wait for a bit until it has been downloaded and try opening it up. So click on open, and there we go. We have our specific palette. So I'm going to keep it on the right side so that I will be able to use it with my eye swapper tool or the color picker tool. Okay. So first thing, we have done almost all the things which we need to do. We have our resource. Now we're going to start off with our basic edits or our basic design. First thing is that we're going to need our text. So I'm going to keep this text over here, cut this off, and then increase up the size. Let's say I'm going to keep it like 72. And then you're going to put in your own text. So I'm going to put in, let's say, trivia. There we go. Trivia, or maybe put in adventure. Okay, this is what my text is going to be. And now obviously open up this part and then use whichever font you prefer. So here I'm going to be using something which is going to look good and also vintage at the same time. So I'm going to like search for something which actually looks very retro and kind of vintage. So search up for something like that and try going for handwritten fonts because that is going to make it look a bit more authentic on that part. So keep going down. There we go. This also looks quite good, but I'm going to keep going down and find another one which will actually look better. I want it a bit of thick. You can see this one is also really good, but if I apply it, I might not be able to apply bold or make it thicker. So keep that in mind. So I want something a bit thick. So I'm going to go or keep going down. There we go. We have a couple of them over here. Just keep going down. Find out the one, let's say something like this. Okay, not this. This one also looks quite good. I'm going to go up. There we go. We have a lot of these fonts, but if you can't find it, just find out the one which will actually look good. So let's say I'm going to do is use this and instead of italic, okay, keep this italic, select up this and go off to alignment options. And then you're going to do is going to be curving this just a bit. Okay. So you can curve it up, but first thing I'm going to go off the layers and keep this layers option on. And you're going to open up another window, which is going to be appearance. So keep this turned on too, so that I'll be able to use that. I'm going to keep this appearance tab outside right over here so that I'll be able to work with it at the same time. I'm going to take this layers option too, because in this class, I'm going to be using both of these a lot. Okay. So we have layer 1 and we have appearance. Okay. So on our layer 1, we have our text. Now what I'm going to do is going to be, you can adjust it up however you prefer. Select on this, click on this tool, and you're going to do is going to be turning this just a bit to the corner. Or you can right click on this, and then what you're going to do is going to be rasterizing the effect. Now, if it doesn't rasterize, what you're going to basically do is cut up the whole thing, Control X, and then you're going to do is going to be make yourself another layer and paste it. Okay, so there we go. We have our text layer. Press on OK. There we go. We have our text layer. Now in this text layer, what you're going to do is going to be customizing it. First thing, we have our text, right? Now, as we have our text, we're going to do is going to be applying a bit of the font. Try applying a bit of the font. There we go. This is how the stroke will look like, but I'm going to keep it 0 for now. Okay. So first things first is that we need to color our text. So to color our text, what you're going to do is apply a fill layer. Now, obviously, I would just like I said, I opened up this option over here. Now, this allows you to apply new fill, and this allows you to apply new stroke. So make sure to keep that thing turned on. I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to select up the text, and then go off the fill. And instead of this, I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to select up the color, whichever color you have. Select on that part. Control Z. There we go. Opacity is default. Stroke is 0. Character should be not black. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to do is going to be reducing or changing the color mode. And obviously you'll be able to use this eye picker tool to select up whichever color you want to use. You can use global piece, basically up to you. So I'm going to select up this part again, select up this, and then from here you will be able to change it. There we go. Click on add new fill. I'm going to select up that. Show color swatches, color groups. And obviously we have a couple of these options over here. We can show them up. You can also apply a new swatch anytime you want to. Color type spot color. And you're going to do is basically get this code over here. So I'm going to open up that. And you're going to do is going to be clicking on this copy. I'm going to paste it right over here. There we go. We have our color, which I'm going to be using. Now, obviously, I'm going to hold on to shift so that I can increase up the size. And now I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this again, and I'm going to apply a stroke layer. So click on this option, add new stroke. Now on the stroke layer, what you're going to basically do is increase up the size just a bit, and I'm going to be using this specific color. So I'm going to go off over here, or you can use this eye picker tool to select it up. Select on that. You can see this option over here too. Double click on that. And then basically what you're going to do is this eye picker tool. You can see this. Cut this off. Color mode. Just use CMYK. And then you're going to go off to the web browser. Select it up if you want to. Then you're going to do is going to be pasting it. Control V. Press on OK. And this is basically not going to be the fill. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting up the fill. I'm going to click on fill over here. I'm going to change it up. We have the strokes, color. So I'm going to do is going to be going off over here. Select it up. Paste it. There we go. And this should not be linked, but I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this. Registration. Now let's just make a copy of this, Control C and Control F, so that it is also a part over here. Now you're going to do is going to be selecting or press on Control Z to undo the process. We only have one, right? So I'm going to apply another layer. I'm going to press on Control C and Control V. I'm going to like Control X to cut this off. Control 3, like layer 3, paste it up. There we go. I'm going to keep this or change the color. There we go. And now copy this. There we go. We have 2 of these now. Now, basically over here, what we're going to do is that we're going to transform both of them. Just go off the appearance over here. You can see this is how it looks like. Let's just delete up this part. Right click on this, just delete it. There we go. Now we have our stroke. Let's just delete this too, so that we don't have to like select or work with it. Delete, or let's just not use it. Let's apply our first fill that is already over here. Let's delete this one. There we go. Let's just keep it just the way it is. Go off the appearance and then apply in a stroke layer or maybe another fill, whichever one you prefer. So make sure to keep this under this fill over here. Select on this, change it up. And then you're going to do is going to be taking up the copy of that. So I'm going to go off back again, copied, paste it over here, press on OK. And now you can see that this one is beneath. Okay. So this one should be beneath it. And this is still not visible. And it is not visible because, this one is just underneath it. So I'm going to click on effects and then go off the transform. Okay. So make sure to click on effects. And then you will have a couple of these options over here. You can see all of these options. Now you have sketch, distort, brush stroke, artistic. Well, these are basically filters, which you will basically find out. So over here on layers, what you're going to do is go off to appearance again. Just go now into distort and transform. Select up the color, which is already over here. If it's not still over here, what you're going to do is going to be selecting up this color over here. Paste it up again, press on OK. There we go. Click on that, distort and transform. You have this transform option over here. Make sure to turn these on, transform patterns, scaled strokes, and then fix it up. There we go. This is how it will look like. You can fix up the horizontal. Now I'm going to do is going to scale this up just a bit bigger than it is. There we go. Increase it up just a bit. There we go, 102, or let's say I'm going to put in 104. Hit on enter. There we go. We have one of that. Now, after that, what we're going to do is going to be applying another color right behind it. Or we can also apply in stroke. It's basically up to you. So as we have it, what I'm going to do is going to be apply another stroke. Okay. And for the stroke, what I'm going to do is going to be using this specific color. So make sure to keep that thing in mind. So I'm going to do is going to be apply another stroke layer. I'm going to take the stroke right beneath them. And then you're going to do is going to be clicking on the stroke over here. Double click. And you're going to do is going to be selecting up this color. Paste it up. And now you can see this one is still not visible. So if I click on this again, and if I take this a bit darker, press on OK, this one will look a lot more better. Go off to effects, distort and transform, go off to and you're going to do is going to be keeping this somewhere around like 103. Okay, hit on OK. Basically check like see it out, increase up the size just a bit so that you can see. If it's still not, then you're going to do is going to be wait just a bit. I'm going to do is going to be clicking on effects again, transform again, apply new effects. You can see it over here. turn these on, and you're going to do is going to be making like 20 copies and get a preview of it. And if it's still not visible, what you're going to do, another copy of it and then put it underneath so that it is a bit more visible. Okay. Increase it up, keep it until it is still visible. And then what you're going to basically do is going to be selecting up the whole thing. There we go. Control G to group them up. And as we've grouped them up, we're still on layer 2. We can apply another layer, go off to appearance again. And then you're going to do is going to be a fill, just like this, and take this under the contents. Okay. Select up the color, and then you get this specific color over here. So go back to the website, select up the color, and then put it up, press on OK. And then you're going to do is going to be applying the same method, distort and transform, go off to transform. I'm going to put in something, let's say, hit on enter. And you can see this is how it's going to be looking like because, this is how it extended up because more elements over here. Okay. But you can obviously change up the color anytime you want to. So make sure to keep that thing in mind. Press on OK. This you have like the other contents, which is totally available. And if you want to apply more filters, you can do that. But I'm going to keep it just this one, and this one is basically the same. So I'm going to select up this one. I'm going to go off to content over here. We have the fill, we have the group over here, we have the transform. Press on OK. Let's check out the layer. Make sure to keep that turned on. And now you're going to do is going to be changing up the color anytime you want to. And if you want more fill, that's also. Now from here, what you're going to do is select up this color or select up this again. And then you're going to do is going to be keeping this at the bottom. To keep that at the bottom, what you basically have to do is create another fill. Take this at the bottom. There we go. Select on this. Go off to effects. Go off to distort and transform. Click on transform. And fix it up at the bottom. There we go. Looks a lot more better. Press on OK. And then we're good to go. Now, the last thing what we're going to do is go off the layer. On the third layer, you're going to make yourself up shapes. So I'm going to create myself an ellipse tool. There we go. I'm going to keep this just how it is. What I'm going to do is going to be turning this a bit different. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to be selecting up this one, and I'm going to select on this color. And I'm going to do is going to be take this specific color, which I already have. This, I'm going to copy that up, press on OK. I'm going to do is going to be selecting up this color over here, paste it up. There we go. And you're going to do is going to be changing this to be like it. Okay, I'm going to increase up this. There we go. We have it underneath. And then I'm going to do is going to be taking this at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to take this at the bottom. This is how it's going to be looking like. And obviously you're going to see the text over here. If you see the text, you can see the appearance. This is also at the bottom. Ungroup it anytime you want. You can change up the color. It's on OK. Select up that. Apply a bit of that. OK. There we go. I'm going to extend it just a bit. Zoom in a bit more. Keep it just the way it is. Apply or make another shape. There we go. Click on the stroke. Here go. Appearance over here. Select up that. Click on this add new stroke. It's going to be selecting it up. Increase the style, like the size over here. What you're going to do is going to be clicking, which you see over here. What you're going to do is going to be putting in another. So I'm going to take, let's say this one, copy. I'm going to paste it over here. Press on OK. We have the whole thing. Just go off the layers. Take this at the bottom. Turn these off. There we go. We now have our retro design. This is how it's going to be. And obviously you'll be able to apply more changes every time you want to. Just go off the layers. When you basically have this group, right click on this, or go off to effects. And then what you're going to do is going to be rasterizing it, or you're going to turn it into, let's say, a rasterized one or a shape. And when you apply a shape, what you're going to do is going to be turning them. So select on that part, go off the appearance. What you're going to do is going to be applying another fill, add new fill at the bottom, or keep this at the top. What you're going to do is going to be clicking on this color. I'm going to select up that part if you want to, but if you don't want to, that's also totally fine. It's basically up to you how you want to work with it. What you're going to do is going to be increasing the stroke size. There we go. Reduce it up to 0 and just white instead of anything else. There we go. You can try using white, but if you don't have one like that, we can use the stroke over here. Just go back, select on the stroke, and then just keep it white. Press on OK, and now you can see how this is looking like. So now you know how you'll be able to make a design like this. You can see this is how good it looks. You can obviously customize it anytime you want to. You can save it up, work it, or put it on any place, any media. It will still look good. Okay. So hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any question or any confusion, any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, our next class of logo designing with Adobe Illustrator. Welcome to another class of logo designing with Adobe Illustrator. In this class, what we're going to do is going to be making a logo design just by using grid. Now, you might think that what is grid and how are we going to make ourselves a logo design just by using grid method? So this is very simple. Past lessons. In our past lessons, I've shown you how you can use the shape builder tool. And just by using that tool, we're going to be making a logo design just by using the grids. Okay. Now there are going to be a couple of new steps which you have to follow up. And obviously I'm going to show you a descriptive method and also show you each and every one of those steps over and over again so that you can check it out and practice on your own. Okay, so make sure not to skip any part of this class because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. So without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Illustrator on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have already opened up Adobe Illustrator. Now, the first thing what we have to do is open ourselves up a new file. So click on New File and select up whichever preset seems to meet up your criteria. So there we go. We can see there's a lot of them. So I'm going to click on this common over here. And you're going to do is going to be keeping this screen on high. and keep it on CMYK color. Now, if it doesn't work like well on CMYK, you can also swap it up to, let's say, print. I'm going to keep it on A4, keep it on landscape, CMYK, and raster effects to be high. So press on create and wait until this type of interface opens up. And you can see from my last lesson, I still have appearance and layer window opened up. So I'm going to keep this opened up because I'm going to be needing this most often. So I'm going to keep this just a bit small so that I can see the whole page and I'll be able to work with it. So as we have our first layer, we're going to first off make ourselves the second layer, and we're going to do is going to be lock up this one because we're going to be working on our second. You can also turn it off anytime you want. It's basically up to you, whichever one you prefer. Okay, so keep this turned on, press on OK. I'm going to go off to the second layer and I'm going to start my process. Now, after this step or after this one, you have to make sure not to skip any part. It's going to be making yourself a couple of lines. Now, you have this option over here, line segments. Make yourself a couple, make sure to hold on to shift so that you get the specific and really straight line. So I'm going to do is going to be B to make another copy of this and keep this aligned perfectly right beside it. Press on Ctrl G to make other copies of it. Now you can see this is how it moves along. So I'm going to do is press on the process, Ctrl C and Ctrl F to make another copy and then press on Ctrl G. But if it doesn't work, what you're going to do is going to be just hold on to Alt and make more copies of it. Follow up the step. There we go. This is how it works. What you're going to do is going to be selecting all of them and perfectly at the center. Okay. What you're going to do is going to be keeping them aligned perfectly. Keep this at the top. And there. So I'm going to do is going to be making another copy of this. There we go. Control D. We're going to press on Control Z to undo the process. And you can see all of them are still at the top. Hold on to that. And you're going to do is going to be make more copies of it. Make more copies. And there we go. We have all of these copies over here. Press on that. And you're going to do is going to be rotating it just 90 degrees. Okay. I'm going to put it 180. Select up all of that and keep them at the center of this. Now what you're going to do is going to be working with the tool. Okay. So first off, I'm going to do all of these. Make sure all of them are selected and then click, which is shape builder. But first off, we're going to start off with whichever type of shape I want. So first off, I'm going to start off with the ellipse tool. Make circle just by holding on to shift. Select on that. Keep this. You can also increase up the size and just like this. There we go. Work. And then select up all of these and then click on the shape builder tool yourself, let's say a copy, or maybe make yourself of the shape. Control C and Control V again. What I'm going to do is going to be keeping this first off at the center. And then you're going to hold on to shift and make sure this is just a bit small so that we get our outline. There we go. Building your shape. So select up all of these again. Make sure if you want to group them, that's also totally fine, but I'm going to keep this individual. And then you're going to make sure to swap up the color to black. Make sure the foreground is black, not white, because if you have white, it's not going to work. So now you're going to do is going to be selecting up the parts which you need to fix up. There we go. Select up all of these areas. Press on Control G. Zoom in and adjust all of these parts, these small parts, Control Z. There we go, zoom out. There we go. Select up this area. And you're going to do is going to be selecting up another area of this. There we go. And now we're done. Okay. So here, as our whole design is done, what you're going to do is select up all of these, select up the whole thing, right click on this and ungroup it. Okay. If it's grouped up, ungroup it and then select up this part and select up all of these layers. First off, select up these areas, which you can already see, and take these part out. There we go. And select up this area and delete it. Press on Ctrl G, delete. Ctrl G to group them up. Keep this aside and remove out this part. There we go. We have our first logo totally done. Now let's make up another one. Let's just keep this aside on our side over here. And now it's just basically up to your creativity how you work with it. So I'm going to start off with the ellipse tool this time. And you're going to do is going to be keeping this like this and increase the stroke just a bit so that we can see it. Click on that. Make sure to hold on to Alt and make another copy of this. Select on both of them, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Keep this at the bottom, or maybe somewhere around over here. Intersect. Let's just select on both of these, delete. Select both of them, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. This looks good. There we go. Select up all of them, group them up, Ctrl G. And then you're going to do is going to be clicking on this shape builder tool again. Make sure to use the foreground to be black. Select on that. Select on this part. First off, what you have to do is ungroup them together again and take out this part. There we go. Now remove out this and we're going to work only with this one. Now from here, what you're going to do is going to be selecting on this one so that we don't have no fill and keep using this one. Let's just keep it aside for now. And then we're going to add up more lines over here. So I'm going to add up those lines. Reduce the stroke. There we go. Press on to Alt just by clicking on the selection tool first. Ctrl D to make more copies of it. Select up all of them. Group them up. Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make the copy. What I'm going to do is going to be keeping this 180. There we go. Select up all of them and then reduce up the stroke just a bit more so that we can see more of it. What you're going to do is going to be keeping this wherever you prefer. Try keeping this somewhere around with the center aligned to one line. Okay, it's going to just make it look a lot more better. Increase up the size. There we go. Reduce up the stroke. And this is how it's going to work. Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make another copy. Hold on to Shift, reduce up the size just a bit so that we get the outline. Now, as we have the outline, we're going to do is going to be using the Shape Builder tool to make the copy. So select up all of these. And then you're going to do is going to be clicking on the tool. And then you're going to make the edits. Not like this, press on Ctrl Z. Make sure the foreground is black. I'm going to do is going to be using this part for the A. It's going to be similar to the one which I've already made. I'm going to do is going to be finding this section A. keep 2 of these spaces. There we go. We have the whole thing done. Control Z to undo the process. There we go. We have our P done over here. A is also done. Add up both of these. Fix it up. What you're going to do is going to be fixing up these parts all together. There we go. We have, and then you're going to do is going to be selecting on these parts. First off, ungroup all of them. Ungroup. Also select up this part over here. Shift. Control. Okay, we have to select up this part too. Select on this tool over here. But make sure that it's connected to each other. Make sure there is no like individual part like this. GAP. Select up again. I'm going to do is going to be redo. There we go. This is how it will look. Right click, and you have to ungroup it. Right click, make sure that all of them are ungrouped. Select up these paths. Take it out from here. Okay. Now, if you don't want to keep these, you can also remove them. Delete. Delete. Delete over here. And basically, there we go. We have 3 of these. Group them up. And the rest of the ones, the grid, we're going to remove them. There we go. We have 2 of these designs. Now you can also do it up with a square, with a rectangle, with what you want to work with. There we go. We have something like this shield over here and also a circle. So this is going to help you to understand how you can make or how you can use grids just to make logos like this. Okay. So hope you understood about everything. And also thank you for watching this video up till the very end. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, with me anytime, I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class or of this course of making logo design with Adobe Illustrator. Welcome to class project 1. The name of the class project is How to Remove Background in Photoshop. I have attached in a description and also an outcome. So let's move on with our description. Background removal in Photoshop is the process of isolating and extracting the main subject of an image from its background. This technique is commonly used in graphic design, photography, and various digital arts. So let's move on to our steps. On the first step, we're going to open up Adobe Photoshop. In step 2, Open up a resource file from the resource folder. Step 3 is go to select and click on subject or use the tool on the screen to select on remove the background. Step 4 is adjust your image, and step 5 is save your photo and upload it into our project panel. So what is the outcome of knowing how to remove the background in Photoshop? The outcome of background removal in Photoshop is an image where the main subject is isolated from its original background. This isolated subject can be placed on a different background or used in a variety of design projects. So let's move on with our steps by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. So as you can see that I have opened up Adobe Photoshop on my device. So the first thing what I have to do is that create myself up a new preset so that I can work on in the interface. So you can either click on new file or open up the resource file directly. But I would suggest you open up a new preset first so that you get an extra artboard to work on with. So click on new file, whichever criteria. Let's say it could be either custom or whichever one you need. So let's say I'm going to do is going to be clicking on print, and I'm going to select on A4 so that I can also get it out for print. So select on that, select up the orientation, select up the RGB mode or the color mode, and we also can fix our resolution. One thing what I'm going to change over here is that I'm going to change it back to 16-bit or 32-bit. It depends on what type of outcome you want. The better the outcome you want, the higher the bit should be. Then I'm going to click on this resolution and I'm going to keep it 600 so that I get the best output out of it. And instead of the color mode of RGB, just change it to CMYK so that it works better with raw color photos. Click on create and wait for a while until the workspace appears up on your screen. Now, as it appears up on your screen, the first thing what you have to do is open up the resource file and open up the resource folder. Okay, so click on file over here and click on open. As you can see that I have opened up my resource folder. Now from here, I'm going to select up any one of these photos which I want to work with. So let's say I'm going to do is going to be work on with this. If you want to get your own resources, that's also totally fine. First thing what I have to do is turn it into a normal layer so that I can work on with it normally. Click on that and there we go. It has turned into a normal layer. Now, as this has been analyzed as a photo, if you want to remove the background and if you're on a newer version of Adobe Photoshop, you'll basically see at the bottom of the screen we have remove background, or you can select up the subject. Now, instead of selecting the subject, just click on remove background. After you click on this button, you just have to make sure that you are connected to the internet and you are connected to Adobe account. Just after a moment, you will basically see that the background will be removed. And what you can basically do is right click on this and rasterize the effect so that you get, let's say, kind of like a shape. So first thing I'm going to do is right click on this. And if you don't see any of these options over here, just click on this button over here, right click on this and turn it into a smart object. If it's still not visible, what you basically do is going to be taking this directly onto our first panel over here onto my workspace and then drop it over here. Press on yes and then wait for a bit and there we go. We have the background removed. You can also do is click on select and then select up the subject. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to my photo layer or the photo preset. And then you're going to do is going to be clicking on select and then click on subject. And then when you select on subject, just wait for a bit until it has analyzed and scaled up the whole thing. Now you can see that the whole thing has been selected. Now what you can do is just easily drag it out of the whole photo and paste it wherever you want, and you will be able to work with it as a subject, as a graphic, or even as a smart art object. So hope you understood about everything in this class, and thank you for watching this video up till the very end. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class project of logo designing. Welcome back to class project 2. The name of the class project is How to Remove Backgrounds in Illustrator. I have attached in a description and also an outcome. So let's learn a bit about how to remove background in Illustrator and what it is. Background removal in Adobe Illustrator is a bit different process compared to Photoshop, since Illustrator primarily deals with vector graphics rather than raster images. However, you can still achieve background removal, especially for vector-based objects or when working with placed raster images within a vector workspace. So let's move on with our steps. Open up Illustrator, open up a resource file from the resource folder, use the pen tool in the toolbar, click to create anchor points around the object, close the path by clicking on the first point. With the path selected, go to the object, compound path, make a press, or press Ctrl 8. In step 6, place the path over the subject, select both the path and the object, then go to Object, Clipping Mask, make or press Ctrl 7. The outcome of knowing how to remove background in Illustrator is by understanding and utilizing these techniques, you can effectively remove background in Adobe Illustrator to create clean, professional vector graphic. So without any further ado, let's move on with our steps. As you can see that I have opened up Adobe Illustrator. Now the first thing you want to do is create yourself up a new preset. Click on New File and wait for a bit until this panel opens up. Click on A4 or whichever preset you want to use, and then keep the orientation on landscape and use higher raster effect. Press on Create and then wait for a bit until the workspace opens up on your screen. So as the workspace opens up on your screen, the first thing what you have to do is open up the resource file. So click on File over here, click on Open, and then basically we have our files or our resources. Click on that, and there we go. We have our file totally available and visible on our screen. Select on that, and then reduce up the size by holding on to Shift so that you get the perfect size of this one. Press on Ctrl Z if you make any mistakes. That's also totally fine. Just make sure to hold on to Shift. There we go. Select up that and keep that onto your workspace. And then zoom in just by holding on to Alt with your keyboard and also zoom in. Just like this. There we go. And now, when you are working on Adobe Illustrator, first off, you have to keep in mind is that you have to select up the parts. So first thing you're going to do is click on this pen, select up definite points, and then select up rasters. There we go. I'm just going to do it like really fast. So that, there we go. Up till this one, and there we go. We have selected up the map. What you can also do is turn it back into path. So you can turn it like this, and you can see basically the path around it. Now, when you have points around the object, and then you're going to do is going to be just adjusting up back to the first point. Now, what you're going to do is with the path object panel. Now, when you go off the object panel, what you basically have to do is go off the compound path and click on make. That there are going to be a lot of these options over here, but you're going to do is going to be clicking on compound path, click on make, and there we go. We have selected that. For that, what you're going to do is going to be click on make, and the last step what you're going to do is click on clipping mask, go off the object again, click on clipping mask on make. You can see can't make clipping mask. The select mask contains more than one object. Select on this part. Now you can see that this one has just created one outline. So make sure to keep that thing in mind. So you have to select and the object. Select the path and then press on Control. Select the object too with the path at the same. There we go. Both of them selected. Go off to object, clipping mask. There we go. The background has been removed from that specific photo. This is how simple it is. Now you can try it out with any of the resources device, or even if you have your own photo. Just follow up these steps, take a screenshot or save this up, export it, and upload it on our that we can see how you are progressing with work. So thank you for watching this course or watching these videos up till the very end. If you still have any confusion, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So hope to see you guys in my next course.